Good evening, you salty sausages, and welcome to another. I've stuck my fucking lips together, and I'm not joking. Hold on.
Yes.
I didn't.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Like Super Mario Brothers.
Those look great, gentlemen.
So anyway, tonight we have a couple of guests. We've got Steve, the East Coast Reefer. We've got Sapphire back from Yorkshire Reefs, and a special guest from America, Blaine from Top Shelf Aquatics. Now, I said hello, salty sausages. May I just cast myself over the Atlantic and say, good evening, you salty wieners. Hope everyone's having a good Friday. Yeah, so we're going to talk some reefing, some corals, and we're going to have some laughs. And then Blaine is going to play Beat the Seat later on.
Ooh.
Which is exciting. Tom, how are you coping there? Because I'm not.
How long does it take to grow that, Blaine?
It's not easy. How old am I? I'm 31. It took 31 years to get to this point in my life.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
You're
I'm just glad I didn't go. I'm glad I didn't go for the sideburns as well, Ron.
No, you got to keep it clean. I mean, the problem is when it gets too walrusy, then it gets in your mouth when you're trying to eat.
Yeah.
Is that what they are? Sideburns?
I don't want to know where you stuck them.
Are they sideburns? I've not thought that through. I know what's coming later, and I don't think it's going to be a good look. Anyway, let's jump into the comments and say hello to everyone who's joined us tonight. Thank you very much, everybody. So we've got this guy who joined at 3:30 this afternoon. Loser. Nice to see you. And then Rob. Anyway, sorry. Good evening, Tony. Nice to see you. The one and only John Wright. Nice to see you. Good evening. You got Chris. Does anyone know that, Chris? That's just Chris.
I mean, I know several Chris.
I know.
Who do I? Who do I?
Could be anyone.
I don't know who that is. Good evening, Gaza. It was nice to see you on Steve's.
Yes.
Yeah. Evening, Gaza.
Steve's stream. It was really, really nice. Good evening, Techers. Nice to see you.
Hey, Terry.
Neil. Is it definitely his name? Neil?
It is.
Good evening, Neil. Nice to see you. Allow me to.
Sorry, 1 second.
Crikey, Melinda. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. How's the so she is currently living through a cyclone. I hope everything's
In Queensland.
I hope everything's tied down. Jamie?
And have backup power.
Yes. Good evening, Jamie. Nice to see you.
Evening.
John, done you. We're not having you again. Sorry. You don't get two.
Double feature.
Yeah. Good evening, Matt. Nice to see you. Bananarama.
Evening.
Hello. Gary Neal. This goes on for fucking ever, Blaine. Just to warn you.
It's like kind of the credits at the end of a Star Wars movie.
It's mental. Good evening, Uncle Jimmy. Nice to see you. Leroy. Good evening.
Lee.
Oh. Peter Parry. Good evening,
Hello.
Peter. Good evening, Anthony. Nice to see you. Oh, Reefy Reese. Good evening. Is your moustache giving you a bit of jet there?
Yeah.
I was talking to
Wow.
Brian. Good evening, John. Nice to see you. Jazz. Good evening. Good evening, you gorgeous lot. Now, I did notice she does need much better glasses when we met her. Good evening, Haley. Oh, that's an insult to Liam, isn't it? Oh, dear. I don't... All right, you steamboat. Hope you're absolutely smashed. Don't sink in the bath and drown. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Oh, dear.
Good evening, Woody. Nice to see you. Oh, here he is. My man crush. Good evening, Sam. Nice to see you.
Happy birthday. It's his birthday today.
Is it today?
Sam Parker's birthday.
Today? Bearing in mind the time?
Yesterday, possibly. Yeah,
Oh.
probably yesterday.
Happy
Oh.
belated birthday.
Happy birthday, Sam.
Good evening, Dave. Nice to see you. Oh, Haribo.
Haribo.
Now,
Evening,
Harry sent me an entire commercial-sized box of Haribo sweets to the garden centre.
So nice.
Good
Who did he
touch.
address it to? Was it? Did it have your name on it, Ron?
No, it didn't. Do you want to guess what it said? No, well,
I
we just moved on then.
couldn't hazard a guess. No.
I haven't got a clue. Go on. Put
Okay.
Zara's misery.
Just Scotland's funniest squirrel farmer. Anyway, good evening, Mo. Nice to see all the staff at the garden centre. They bring me these packages, right? And they're like, here's another one. Nothing beats the one from Liam, though. Good evening, Jarek. Nice to see you. Oh,
Yarek.
good evening, Keel. Nice to see you. Oh, look who it is. Look who it
Oh
is.
dear, he's here.
Oh, good evening,
Murph.
Mr. Murphy. Dazza, good evening. Still fucking going. Sorry, Blaine. I wasn't joking. Everyone's talking amongst themselves. Good evening, Tony.
Evening.
Many?
Dirty Sanchez. Good evening, AD Reef. Good evening, Chris.
Evening.
Good evening, Reef Community Worldwide. Good evening, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
You know what? That'll do.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough hellos.
Plenty. If we missed you, hello.
Can I just say, Tom, you look like Captain Mannering.
I was going for more of the Dr. Robotnik look.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
That's not bad, actually. Yeah, that's not bad. Dr. Robotnik, that's exactly what you look like.
Cheers, mate.
Anyway, just wanted to
We'll talk something reefing related, Blaine. Don't worry, at some point tonight.
That's
eventually.
just good.
I'm a big cock.
Sorry. Does anyone know what happened to Rob?
I think he got bored.
He got bored.
He was out after the 30 seconds shout out.
Yeah.
He was done.
He has
he
had
was
to
like,
completely reboot his entire PC, reinstall everything from absolutely nothing. He's at a complete mare. So something's obviously happened.
Wiped all his Bitcoin out. He's on the streets. 13-foot tank for sale next week.
So somebody said to me last week they found the show deeply offensive. So just in case anyone's wondering, if you do have any complaints, contact Tom at Belmarsh Prison. And also, please hit like and subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing. And obviously, alternatively, you can go and fuck yourself. So yeah. Just click.
I'm taking that and I'm using it on the next video. I'm using it on the next video.
I had a car bumper sticker that said, "How's my driving? Call 999."
Oh dear.
Oh.
Anyway,
Tom, what have you got planned for tonight then?
a few beers, hopefully a laugh or two. I'm the feeling you've got something in store for me, like you do every Friday.
I'm going to attempt to drink through this moustache.
It does get a bit wet. I'm just warning you.
It will.
You need a curly straw.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. This is
I know.
ridiculous.
It's not healthy.
Anyway, so
You don't want a moist moustache.
no, we don't. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight, also with Blaine here. So I'm not saying
Yes.
I don't want to talk to Stephen. I don't want to talk to Sapphire. That's not what this is about. But we've got Blaine for a couple of hours. So Blaine, tell us a little bit about yourself, if that's okay.
Yeah. So I'm Blaine, everyone, if you haven't seen me before on the internet. So I do the YouTube over at Top Shelf Aquatics. If you guys don't know what Top Shelf Aquatics is, it's one of the, if not the premier store in all of the United States, I'd say, and Florida. So we're in Central Florida. We're in Orlando. We kind of pride ourselves in our aquaculture. We have over a 30,000 gallon aquaculture facility in the back. We do everything from dry goods, fish, coral, the tanks, custom installs, you kind of name it, we do it. I kind of taken the YouTube channel and kind of spearheaded it. I pride myself in trying to like teach. I think teaching is really cool about this hobby. I think you learn something new every single day, right? I think that's what's so cool about reef keeping is that you constantly, no matter how long you've been doing it, I've been doing it for over 20 years. I learn something new every day. Top Shelf is also really unique in the fact that we have a bunch of very smart, curators that are taking care of the farm facility that all work together. And I think that's really cool to see how they kind of pinball ideas off of each other. But myself, though, I've been keeping reefs for a long time. I love it. Was working marine construction, wanted to get out of there somehow and get into the industry. And here I am now doing YouTube for a living. My dad was a coal miner. He thinks I'm a fucking idiot for doing social media for a living. But here we are, paying the bills, I guess, and figuring out. But no, that's me in a nutshell. I love this hobby. It's, having fish is really cool. I've had my yellow tang for over 10 years. I mean, these fish are really unique. I think people forget how long you can have and keep these animals. I think they're awesome. They're very personable. My fish know who I am. I think that's something people tend to forget about this hobby. That's so cool.
So can I just double check? You've not mentioned it, but Top Shelf Aquatics are not still into human trafficking in any way. No, is that?
No.
Oh,
we got out of that game when we started. We were out of it from the start. Cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just to check, this is Tom's
for
YouTube
sure.
channel,
Yeah, right.
Not mine. So it's all good.
Not mine either. So we're good.
So you've also not mentioned a little bit of your past that you were in Predator. I mean, you were one of my favorite characters. I thought you were absolutely incredible. Some action shots as well.
I thought I killed that role.
This is one of my favorite scenes. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I just want to give Steve a shout out for actually organizing them for me.
Steve,
in the last half an hour. But Steve did say, he says, I'll make them for you, but hold on. Don't forget, he was in Top Gun 2. Which you so were.
Yes, Blaine. Yes, Blaine.
It's spooky how
it is. It's really weird knowing there's multiples of. Wow, that's fucking striking. That's scary. It's funny. You sent that picture to me yesterday. I showed the office and I was like, did I die? Is this me? I thought it was me. Hey, he's back.
I'm back.
Rob's back from like the 1980s. Are you using a Game Boy camera?
Was it a time warp? my very old laptop.
It looks like your camera's like falling off.
Okay. I don't know what you missed there, Rob, but you can obviously watch it back at some point. So, Tom, you said Blaine has sent some stuff in.
He has, yes.
And, do you want how do we?
You should be able to add it to stage if you can see it.
Okay, so
the one that ends in 207.
The one that ends in 207. Oh, here we go. Let's have a look here. And then you can talk us through what we're looking at, Blaine.
Cool. Yeah, so this is the farm facility. I kind of just put together a little clip of kind of the whole setup. It's pretty much like a whole U of a building. And so right there, you guys are looking at some of the oldest systems actually in the farm currently. The farm got set up, I want to say it was 2017 was the year the farm actually kicked off. We originally were farming directly out of the retail space. Wasn't enough space. As you guys can see too, there is coral everywhere. The sumps are coral spaces. There's PVC is like a big thing that I wanted to kind of chat about a little bit. We utilize PVC a lot. You can see it here. The reason for doing that is that, corals will encrust, right? And the last thing we want to do is be pulling out big ass rocks every single time. So what we've done is created these PVC installations where you can pop in and out of the colonies, frag them as you need. pop them directly back in. If corals encrust over the PVC, you can cut the PVC up and you can glue the PVC pieces directly down on the frag plugs. Behind right there's the packing station. So we have a crew packing Monday through Thursday. We're shipping out a lot of packages every single day. We ship all across the U.S., continental U.S. We do dry goods, livestock, all that good stuff. But the farm facility in and of itself is really impressive. I think the shots never do it justice. I tried to do a good job at kind of showcasing the farm. But I think when you get in there and you physically feel the space, it's like, the Disney World of corals, right? I mean, it's crazy. There's so much in there. You guys will see too, a big majority of SPS corals. Kevin is addicted to small polyp stony corals. We can't stop him. He has a literal problem. We've sent him to see people. It hasn't worked out really well.
Could you get me the number of that therapist so I can pass it to Tom, please?
It's me. I'm the therapist. I'm trying to get him, but in reality, right, I think we're the premier spot for sticks in the U.S. Like we have some of the craziest stuff out there. We have what I would consider too is the seed bank, is the farm. I think it's cool too. We grow out these colonies and say if people were to lose something, ORA recently lost a signature coral they had. We were able to give them a colony and kick them back off again, which is very cool. I love that idea. It's kind of like the Reefer's code concept and idea, right? I've done it a million times with my jawbreakers, my OG bounces. I've cut them a bunch and I've given them to people to be like, hey, you get this. I'm not making you pay anything. But what you do have to do is if I lose it, you have to frag it and give me a piece back. So it's kind of, the Reefer's code, right? You get something out of it, but in the end, it's really a seed bank for you in the long run. Of course, pick a reefer that's actually going to keep it alive. Don't pick anyone that's going to, kill it or sell it. But I mean, the farm facility is crazy. It's really cool. 30,000 was the original number when I started. I think they're lying through their teeth. I think it's like 35, almost like going into 40. Taras, who's the other kind of face on the channel, he does a lot of the phytoplankton culture. He's our lead phycologist. So he does the phytoplankton culturing. He does like the small aquaculture inverts. We recently moved him out of the farm space to get him into his own area, something a little bit more biosecure, an area where he has a little bit more space, and somewhere he can play around with a little bit more projects. It's been really cool to see that expand too. So we've lost tanks underneath spaces and racks of phyto, but we're making more room for more, grow out tanks and situations like that for us. But yeah, farm is crazy for sure.
Do you ever import from Thailand?
I'm just wondering. I'll be honest, right? So when it comes to physical boxes coming to our store location that we're opening up and we're looking through and going, and selling corals from, we're only really doing those one-off pieces, right? We don't see us going out of our way to buy stuff to then, we're not getting mariculture in to then really grow out unless we buy a couple pieces here and there from a wholesale that we think has potential. But a lot of it's going to be our one-off pieces, right? It's going to be a lot of that stuff that's one-off. We're seeing a lot of the stuff coming in recently. It's going to be Indo and Australia is more of where we're seeing a lot of the stuff that we're getting mainly from. But I mean, honestly, we don't see many boxes come in from a week-to-week basis because we're trying to do our best to push the aquaculture corals, right? I mean, our farm corals are the best corals, generational corals, but obviously everyone wants a one-off piece, right? So it's hard, right? Because we've worked on projects of fragging scolies, of fragging, trying to do these other things to try and, speed up the process of the aquaculture, for large polyp stony corals, but it's just too hard. We just don't have, for what we're trying to do, it doesn't make sense. At a wholesale facility, it almost works out better for them because they have 100+ scolies in one tank. They're kind of self-forcing that opportunity for a spawn potentially to occur. For us, though, we just don't want to take the time and space to focus on that when we can focus on like SPS corals and other things that we can move a little bit quicker and grow out a little bit better, more efficiently.
Yeah, the only reason why I'm asking about Thailand is I was just wondering if you've ever imported any sticks with dicks.
No, none.
That was a long joke. That took ages.
It did. It took way too long for you.
From set up to punchline, that's going to be one of the fucking longest.
Grown into a colony by then.
What you on about here? You're calling it what? Sticks or
Sticks.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Sapphire. Do apologise.
I can
I thought
apologise.
Blaine's
to
answer
myself.
was
It's fine.
was really interesting anyway. So
See, perfect. You got some. Somebody got some.
yeah,
out of it.
I enjoyed listening to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, before we move on, I remember seeing this a long time ago. I think this was tail end of the summer last year, and I have never ever got over it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ron.
Oh my God.
Ron, that thing was. This is not my channel. That thing was fucking ridiculous. It was.
So
insane.
you saw it.
So
you saw it
let
in
me.
person?
So yeah. So let me. I wrote that. I wrote that. I
this?
wrote that article. That's the article I wrote. So. We did not keep it. We recently sold it to a collector. Well, not sold. We sold it to a collector. So let me explain the story of that scoly. It's really cool. So that exact same situation I was talking about, the wholesaler. So out in Australia, there's a wholesaler by the name that's in my article. You can read it on the reefbuilders.com blog. But so I was speaking with the owner. So what happened was they brought in about, I would say 150 scolemia into the facility. They put them all into this tank. That scoly right there was blood red. It was just red. That is all it was before. It sat in that tank for about 1.5 years. And during that 1.5 years, they had 3 spawning events occur, and it was involved with all the spawning events. And as it kind of sat in the LEDs, it cooked and baked. It turned into this rainbow confetti that we see now. I would share. I should have. I wish you would have told me this was going to be brought up, because I have a bunch of footage of that exact scoly to give it an actual, to show it in tank compared to other corals. It was crazy. I mean, it was nuts. It was so impressive. Yeah, we ended up selling it for an undisclosed amount, a lot.
Can we have a guess? Can we have a guess?
I'll let you guys guess, and I'll say if you're close or not for sure. I can't give you.
$10,000.
Can we do higher and lower?
Yeah, I will. Fine, sure. We'll play higher. Higher, Sapphire.
What did you? Sorry, Sapphire.
I said $10,000.
Jesus. He's saying higher. Okay.
Yeah.
So it went to a collector in Texas. Am I right?
So I can't. Yeah.
Where did you buy it from in Australia? Monsoon Aquatics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was from them.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty crazy. When that came in, though, I mean, as soon as it hit the States, we kind of as soon as we got whim of it, we were like, that's coming to our shop and we're selling it.
We've had some crazy scollies from there.
Yeah, we've recently, I would say the last year. I would say in the last year, from the past 10 years or so that I've seen from a lot of the LPS coming into the US, I think it's some of the best that I've seen in quite some time. And including those button scolies are crazy. The button scolies have been insane lately coming out of Aussie.
Yeah. Well, a load of captive spawned ones came out of Monsoon to the UK last month. And we got a load, and things that were meant to be only 2 colors were like 4, 5. We got like war paints that had multiple things going on. I mean, because colors on a scoly are like
it's like what you want, right? Yeah, that's what you want. Yeah. And what's crazy too about that one was when I sat there and I really looked at it, there was multiple shades of multiple of the same color. Like there'd be a baby blue, but there would be like 6 different styles of that baby blue. It was crazy. It was really cool. I haven't seen anything like it since. It is definitely the nicest scoly I've ever seen, and I was sad to see it fly away, but went to a good collector for sure.
For a lot of money.
Well, Sapphire said 10,000. Excuse, and you said higher. We've got a few comments from the people in the audience. Dave is saying $20,000.
Lower.
Oh.
14.
Can't have been that nice then.
A little lower.
Oh.
18,000.
Sapphire is pretty much on it. She's been pretty close to it every single time.
12.
Sapphire listens.
Higher.
13.
Higher than 12.
I know what I'd sell it for, but I'm not good at the dollar-pound conversion rate.
It's hard too. It's hard too, right? Because you have to. What's special about that piece, right? And a lot of the pieces, some of these one-off pieces, right? That's a perfect example of a one-off piece, right? Like you have to have the right collectors to buy that. You know, like you have to have the proper people. And then also the thing for us, which it's funny too, because most people probably on the back end of this think we never think about this, but this is something I actually thought about quite a bit is, are we sending it to a good home? Like, is this actually a good place for the coral to go? If we know it is a piece like that, right? If it's a one-off piece, we really do consider that and put that into thought. Like, no, you're going to need, I don't, maybe, no, forget it. Either way, though, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, something's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Yes.
Bingo. That's very true. I mean, we've had people, right, that have bought, large chunks of, regular corals that you could get in a small frag for cheap. But I mean, they're willing to pay that because of the shape, the formation, the perfect striping, coloring, grafting. Everybody, oh man, Tommy B, you are like
on the money. Is he on the money, honey?
He's pretty, it's about as close as you can get without me start throwing out like numbers. But yeah, Tommy's pretty much got it on the head.
Nice.
What's that in our Great British Pounds? Somebody with a
don't make me do that. That'll take me weeks.
A lot.
11.
So I'm not asking for details, obviously, but is that something you pay? No, you pay a certain amount of money and then you put your normal markup on it, or how do you make up a price? And is there a bartering process with a wealthy collector? Is it no, I'm not paying that. Right? Okay. How about? Now we're getting closer to what I want to pay. Is that how it goes?
I mean, this is kind of like a slippery slope for me to get into right here. I'll just say when it comes to one-off pieces, right? Good. When it comes to one-off pieces, I'll keep it as simple as it can be, right? We put a number on it, but in reality, we have a number on our head that we want to get. If they're not with the number, then we keep it. We don't care. People will buy it. I mean, after we sold that, we had probably 5 other people say they would have paid more for what we sold it for. So, I mean, you guys have seen it at Polo Reef. I was just about to say Andrew Sandler was one of them that reached out to us that tried to buy it post. It was not Andrew Sandler that purchased the piece though, which is funny. He was one of them. He was one of them that wanted it, but he was too late, a little too slow.
Yeah.
Do you ever?
Our kind of rule with stuff like that is. Our kind of rule with stuff like that.
No, Andrew, I didn't mean that. Andrew, I didn't mean it.
He's not watching this. He's far too busy. Go on, Saf. Sorry.
Our kind of rule with stuff like that is it's not really for sale until the right person walks in and offers me a set amount of money for it.
We have, so Frank is one of our salesmen here, right? So Frank, he specifically does like the high end sales, right? He is like, that's what he does. He's he just moves coral specifically to his high end clients. He has a group that he pretty much will kind of reach out to. If he has pieces that we really like, he'll reach out to them with a portfolio and be like, hey, what do you think? And if they're like it, then we'll just buy it from the wholesaler and just kind of knowingly that we'll move it to them. But it's a lot of trust between all parties involved, right? Like, I mean, you got to have trust with us, with the wholesaler, and then them with us. It's like, it's a lot of these relationships with these collectors have been going on for 10 plus years, right? I mean, these aren't people that we've just met a year ago. These are people that we've known a long time.
So
do you ever get go on.
Sorry, when you go, Tom.
I was just going to say, do you ever get situations where two people want the same coral and you have a bidding war?
We've had it happen. We've had exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's what you kind of want, right? I mean, for sure. If you have a one-off piece, but we don't like go back and forth with them in a group message, like, hey, here we go, to the man in the white hat, to the girl in the blue shorts. Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
You've been practicing that, clearly.
I have. I don't know. When it comes to like 2 people, usually there'll be like a chain of command for Frank where he'll be like,
Liam,
like the bar, the top shelf liquor is like the best in the bar, top shelf liquor. So that's where this comes from, right? So the top shelf liquor,
as well.
And this is the top shelf aquatics, right?
Yeah, we just thought it was filth.
It really is. This chat's crazy. This chat, you guys are unhinged in this chat. It's crazy.
Listen, that's where my coral names would be. They'd be top shelf. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm gonna bring a next coral that I'm given that I need to name. I'll bring it to the board, and we'll see what you have.
Yes.
Do you want to give market it on the website?
Yeah. I mean, if it comes from Thailand, you know what it is.
Do you want to give Blaine an example, Ron, of some of the ones you've named?
Yeah, Montipora, Bruce Lee's boner, Acropora sugar tits.
Better.
Yeah, they look. It looks like sugary little tips on the top of. I mean, it's not just a random rude comment, Sapphire. It has
meaning.
Some of them are though.
It's got something behind it.
Although I can't really explain why I've seen
Bruce Lee's boner.
But anyway,
Ron's just
yeah, definitely.
Oh, see, senor, see. Anyway. So we've got another little video from you, Blaine. If you want to talk us through this one,
sure.
That's okay.
So I guess we're just gonna kind of show off. I should have flipped it. I'm sorry, everybody. That was my fault.
Let's all flip it. Here we go.
We can all flip it. I should have made it horizontal. So once again,
hang on a minute. Is that the bird?
That is the bird.
That's it.
So in our farm, right? Like I said before, SPS is like king for sure for us. We do a big thing called cut to order is kind of like a big thing that we do at Top Shelf that I think is kind of cool. I don't know if it's big over in the UK. I don't see it a ton around here, but it's basically you will choose the specific colony or whatever that you really like. If we don't have specific, what you see is what you get frags ready of it. You can place an order to have them cut the colonies. We'll cut you frags. We'll allow them to heal and grow, and then we'll send you your cut to order frags, which is pretty cool. That torch that was just shown was really wicked. That had like a baby grail graft into it with a dark purple torch, and so like a piece like that, So a piece like this is perfect. So we bought it from a wholesaler, a single head. We won't sell that. We're going to keep that. That's going to get aquaculture. Like we want to grow that. We want to see what that can do. And that that's something we want to see what, because some of these species, right, you buy them and you're like, do we want to grow them out? Do we want to take the time? But the problem with taking the time with growing them out, it is generational. It is not a short stint. This doesn't take, 2 seconds to grow a bunch of heads. And then all of a sudden it's generation 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's our issue is that when we release a coral, it needs to be the 4th, 5th generation of that frag. We want to have lines and lines and lines of colonies separated throughout the farm. So that way we're not running ourselves really dry on, stocking. Like that's the last thing we want to do. Things happen, right? We lose stuff here too. Everyone watching at home, corals die. It happens. Like these things happen, problems happen, shit happens. But you need to have backups just in case. If they're these one-off pieces, they're these really nice things, it's essential that you have a backup. But yeah, overall, just the coral we kind of carry, just wanted to throw in some sexy B-roll. That's kind of like one of the things I love to do, walk around and just shoot shots of the corals, right? Just kind of get lost in the sauce. I think there's just sometimes people appreciate the corals from the outside looking in. I think looking inside and then being inside the tank from a top-down tube gives you a completely different vision of what being in a tank is all about.
Is that the torch that spawned in your farm?
Yeah. So all these, are filmed in our farm facility. Yeah. And go ahead.
Can I just ask you, does anybody that works at Top Shelf get told off for just daydreaming and staring at coral? And not doing any work.
It's funny. I would say no, because there's so many people. I think the other thing too is you get jaded to it, right? I think you see it every day and it's like just the normality of it, like I see it every day now. It's been 2 years that I've been here. I see it every day. It's kind of just repetition. And then when people walk in, I give them tours of the farm. They're like, holy shit, look at this place. And they're blown away. And I think that's a friendly reminder for everyone. I think I get in trouble a lot because I sit there at times and I start talking to the guys in the farm. Like I start wasting their time basically because I'm like talking to them about corals, like this and this and that. And then Kevin, one of the owners who is the main curator over in the farm, would be like, "Hey, what the fuck? Like I need my guy doing fragging. Like what are we doing? Like shut up. We don't need to talk about that. Like what do you get back to work?" And I'm like, "Oh right, I should probably start filming stuff again." But
also working in aquaculture, like staring at the corals is like a massive part of the job. Like
I was about to say that's actually like a huge piece of it. Sapphire's right. I mean, in the morning we have there's a full team, right? 10 plus that are in the farm. We have each individual will start at a place and they'll work all around the farm with, whether it be they'll go all white on all the tanks. They'll take the time to inspect every single coral. You can guess we have a fuck ton of those. So there's a lot of checking and inspecting. There's a lot you got to do. So it's cool to see them get in there. And I think quarantine, right? Hot topic, right? Quarantining corals, right? Whatever. We do a lot of it. We really do. There's 3 quarantine setups that they go through to get to being able to be sold outside of the one-off pieces, right? But still, even then, it's really hard for everyone to say confidently that, oh, we're 100% pest free. Anyone that posts that in the hobby is a liar. They're flat out lying to you. And I'm saying that we do our best, right, to be 99%, right? But I'm going to allow that human error occurs. Things happen.
I totally agree with you.
Things happen, right? I think people need to understand that. But, what can you do? That's part of it. People try to hold us to a higher standard though, right? Because, of, what we offer things at, right? The price point that we put things at. And I think that's a topic that's worthy of mentioning. We are not a garage guy. We're not your average guy in a garage that has no one. There is no overhead here. There is a lot of overhead. There's a lot of people. We have a bunch of people actually looking at the corals and making sure that they're good. These aren't chop shop corals. You're not getting something that just flew in 2 days ago and got glued a day ago and then is being sent to you the next day. There's a lot that goes into Top Shelf, a reason for why we have the price points that we have. But I think that goes with it. If you watch a lot of the videos and things like that, you guys will see the amount of, time and effort we put into the animals.
Do you get any kickback on people buying a coral and then it turns a completely different colour when they've got it in their system? And sort of questioning whether they've been sent the original in the first place?
I think that's an issue for every vendor. I don't think that's an issue just for us. I think that's every vendor that does it online. I think overall, I think you have your camera, right? And you have your auto white balance that's set in camera. Like a lot of people outside of the camera world won't understand what's going on, but you have your auto white balance set, and that's going to be the color that you're taking with your camera. And hopefully you're trying to get as close to as what you see in the real world, right? But everyone's going to tailor their photos differently. All the videos that you saw today were taken in camera, and I didn't touch them post at all. That's as they are, as they sit. I don't like saturating things, overdoing things. For everyone watching at home, a little telltale tip: if you really want to figure out if something's oversaturated, look at them if they're holding the frag plug. Are they a Smurf? Like, why are their hands blue? Like, their hands are not blue. Do the due diligence, right? Like, look at the photos. Genuinely think about it. Like, look at other corals of that same coral you're trying to buy online. Do they look the same? Like, is that just juice out of its mind? I think we do a good job. If you pull up the Top Shelf website, anybody watching, I think we do a good job trying to hit that exact kind of color of what they look like, right, in tank. No, so our tanks aren't separated. There's a group of systems. There'll be like one row of tanks will be a tank. There's the quarantine 1, 2, 3, but then the rows of the systems will be chained together. So it'll be long whole systems of like over a couple thousand gallons each of each full system length.
I've got a question for you in the aquaculture bit. Do you keep the water parameters the same in every tank, or are you doing things like adjusting nutrients higher in LPS and lower in SPS systems? Like, do you have an ideal?
That's a really good question. So I say it probably in every video. We preach consistency. I know it's like a horse that's beat dead, right? Like everybody's like, oh, be consistent. Like, don't chase the numbers. Like, but genuinely do not chase numbers. Like, it's not going to help your tank if you go and, I mean, sure, if you're like getting to a point that you're like within a number range, you're trying to get to that exact pinpoint. Yeah, that can be helpful, but take the time to look at your system and look at what the corals are doing. Are they happy? Do they look good? Like, is everything seem all right? For us, obviously, we have specific ranges, right? Like 8.9 was our alkalinity range we wanted. We've recently moved it up to 9.0. So we're like changing things ever so slightly. For our phosphates, it's like 0.05 is our danger zone that we flirt with if you're too low. So we'll start feeding reefroids and things like that. If we're at 0.15, that's our danger zone where we want to go down. Outside of that, it's just all the regular parameters you would shoot for in your reef tank. But like those two are like kind of the main ones we really are kind of harping on. Nitrates are like impossible to find in our systems just because look at the corals, like look at the sheer amount of corals in the tanks. It's really hard to maintain nutrients. The way we feed our systems is unique. We do 2 tests a day, depending on what day it is. There's 2 days a week where there's 2 tests a day on each individual system. Every other day, we'll get 1 test a day on each individual system. So we'll see a number, we'll look at the number, we'll make our adjustments immediately post the number. The reason for it on Friday for a double is you check it, you make your changes, you recheck it, then we go into the weekend knowing we're at kind of the range we want to be. Obviously, there's someone in the farm every single day. But yeah, that's kind of the goal, right? Is consistency. I harp on that a lot. I think sometimes people get so wound up with this, like, oh, I got to be at 8.0. Like if I'm not at 8.0, and then they forget about all their other parameters and they've gone completely out of whack and they're so honed in on this alkalinity. Also, our tanks are so fucking smart now. They're ridiculously smart now. We have the ability to put controllers on everything. They tell you what is happening. And outside of that, we have HANA instruments that are the easiest testers in the world. If you are not willing to take the 20 minutes to test your reef tank, get out of the hobby. And I will say that with confidence. Get out of the hobby, because it is not a hobby for you if you're willing to spend all that money and then not test your tank. That is one thing I will die on that hill. Like if you are not willing to test your tank, then shame on you. Like take 20 minutes. Yeah. Like take literally like take 20 minutes. It is so annoying to me for people to be like, oh, well, why is everything dying? I'm like, what are your numbers? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, then what are we doing?
You say to a customer, like a customer comes in, they're like, I bought loads of corals through last week and they're all dead. And I'm like, all right, what are your water tests? They're perfect. All right.
Perfect.
What numbers are they? What numbers are they? Everything's 0.
Yeah. And like, they won't know.
Another
so
one.
I think that's one big thing for us. I think the other thing too, with controllers is you disconnect yourself from the system. When you're testing it physically, you're connecting yourself with the system and being in tune with your tank, playing with it, being near it. I think that's cool. But yeah, we consistency is the big one. But like I said, there's a couple numbers we really shoot for, but every tank will be specific and different. Like our Zoa tanks, some of those systems we run like higher nitrates, give them a little bit more juice. Whereas like our SPS dominant tanks, we run a little higher alkalinity, have a different light system going on. We got halides over the SPS systems, whereas we only have LEDs over some of the softy LPS systems. So yeah, every tank's a little different, but overall it's kind of just like the overall idea of consistency.
What's the protocol? Right. What's the protocol from an HR perspective if somebody says they've tested something and they haven't, or when somebody tests something, writes a number down, and then somebody retests it and gets a completely different answer?
So that's a really good question. So I kind of hit that I asked Evan, one of the main curators over in the farm, that exact question. I was like, what happens if a number's like weird, right? So the first initial thing, retest. Just test it again. Something probably went wrong during your testing that you just fucked up on. So test again. If something's really off, go and look at your tank. Is your alkalinity not up? Is your calc line clogged? Like, has that been clogged for weeks? Like, what's going on? Like, go and look at your system and see what parameters off, and then go see if like that specific doser or whatever, something's wrong with that. Then if it's still reading that same crazy number, we'll have a second person come in and they'll do the test themselves. We'll get a second eye on it. They'll do the test. Once they do the test, if they see something's up, we'll make a change at that point. Then that's when we'll make a change. If it's a big change, obviously the farm manager, Kevin, like everyone's involved then at that point. But I mean, more than likely, a lot of the off whim times that something's wrong is like a clogged calc line. It's usually silly things like that, or something that's the dosing line somehow got pulled out or whatever, bumped when someone was working down below. That is another thing too. We are a farm, right? This is a farm facility. Like it's not, it's not a retail store back there. Like it's not super clean and spick and span. Like we have people working all the time. It's wow. There's a lot of people. It's a farm, area.
Well,
we always say
Go on, Saf.
we always say that most things that go wrong with a tank are probably your fault, right?
Yes. Usually it's your fault. Usually it's your doing. Half the time, tanks look really good when you just do this. When you just sit back and look at them and don't mess with them, they sometimes tend to do a little bit better. But
if one of your water tests is like crazy wrong, like what have you done to your tank that week? Where have you been? Like, have you been in the sump? What chamber were you in? What were you doing? You've knocked something out normally.
So we're all blaming Blaine then.
Yeah. He came round to my house. He knocked my dose offline.
Even Dave's saying that there might be cross-contamination between systems with his moustache.
If I'm doing like a top down, there's total potential that I could have cross contamination.
How many people, Blaine, how many people that work in the farm are actual reefers at home?
At home. That's a great question. So that's actually funny too. Overall here, I would say the amount of people that in the farm actually have a reef tank at home. Let's see. Half the people that work in the farm have a reef tank at home.
So half your
and I would say, I would say that half, the 5 that have reef tanks, want to shut them down every other day. Basically, they're like at a whim. Man.
On eBay.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to understand is, so the other people that don't have a reef tank, are they ex-reefers, as in they had a tank and they know about reefing? I'm just curious to know, like, what's the interview process if somebody wants a job? Not that I'm applying, but
so,
do you only take people, employ people with reefing knowledge, or do you train people? Or?
Yes, in the farm space, the curators, the people that are actually taking care of the corals, they need to have a resume and they need to have experience. We will not bring anyone on without experience that's going to be actively working in the farm space. Now, someone can come on to the retail side and they can have no experience. They can learn in the retail side and transition to the farm if they'd like to do that. People have done that, but no, we're not just grabbing Joe Schmo off the street and saying, "Hey man, get on that saw. We need zoas. Start cutting." Like, no, that's crazy.
Let them spit on them first.
Yeah, hey, grab those pallies in the back. I need you to brush them off with a toothbrush.
Your toothbrush.
Yes, exactly. So the retail, when you're initially hired on the retail side, we do a fish quiz. We do a quiz of like a bunch of fish that are non-named, and then people get, you're given the list, like, because people will say, they'll come in and blow smoke up your butt and be like, "Oh, I love reef and I've done it forever." And then you'll show them a list of fish and they'll be like, "I have no idea what any of those are." And someone will be like, we put freshwater fish on the list specifically to see if people will notice, and people will like call on them, like saltwater fish and stuff. So it's funny. It's a good way for us to get an idea. But in the farm space, we need people that know what they're doing. Kevin, he's one of the owners. There's 3 owners. Kevin's the main one in the farm. He puts them through pretty much the interview process. And if you can get an interview with Kevin done, then you probably make it into the farm. But yeah, he's a tough guy to, he wants to make sure that place is running like spick and span. So
the curator that you said earlier is one of the owners. Sorry,
Kevin. Yes,
he's got the acropora addiction.
Yes,
surely he has the best tank on the planet.
So he doesn't have a saltwater tank at home because his tank is the shop. I feel like at this point, right? I feel like that's become the main thing with a lot of the employees is that they're no longer a drive to take care of their tank at home because they're so committed to taking care of the animals here at TSA. Like I said, it's a lot. Especially we have like just there's 2 people that do testing. Like that's all they do, like all day. Like, and people are complaining. That's why I laugh and say, you can test your tank for 20 minutes because we have people that do it for like almost 9 hours a day. Like they do it all day long. And the reason we do that, people will be like, "Oh, get a Trident. Like, why don't you have an Alcatronic?" Like, no, like we have hundreds of thousands.
Is that how they speak?
Yeah, kind of. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars of animals that we're trying to take care of and make sure to live. Last thing we're going to do is trust something that came out of a box, right? We're going to ensure that we're cross-checking everything.
We run like automation, like, testing on all our systems, but we still manually check them along with all the other checks.
Exactly.
Like...
We do exactly that. We have
leave it in the box. Just leave it in the box. Much safer.
Well, that can deal with like the overnight, but like in the morning, we're still there, like checking the KH, being like, "Yep."
I will be honest. I think controllers are awesome, right? I used to be a hard hat diver. I traveled all across the country for work, and I never could know what the heck was going on with my tank before I had a controller. Now that when I had a controller, that was a cool aspect of knowing what was going on with my system when I was away. Because most people that watch your reef tanks or watch your fish tanks, they call it, when they're watching them when you're gone on vacation or work, they have no idea what they're dealing with, right? They are going to feed, and that is, you've told them you feed and you look for a leak, and if anything else, call me. But that's the thing that you have to kind of remember. Controllers are really beneficial to give you that second reminder, keep you a little more control over your tank. It is nice. It's an added benefit for sure. I think there's absolutely places for all equipment, right, in the aquarium hobby, but it's for each individuals, there's going to be specific ones that fit specific needs.
So what staff discount do you get?
We can
go higher and lower.
No, we're not going to play that game.
Was that 100% when the boss ain't looking?
Man, yeah, I wish.
I'm trying to get this question answered, right?
Yeah,
seriously.
that's a good
John
question.
Is about to get wheeled down the nursing home corridor and into his wee room, and then just parked in the corner, brakes on until the morning. So, John,
the emergency cord at the side of him.
So John, I think the answer to that question is a little hard to kind of explain. In essence, is this due to the size of the systems, right? Like the sheer size, gigantic, right? Yeah, they're really big. Due to that fact, I think the corals that are coming out of each tank individually, it's not enough that it's going to fluctuate our salinity. On live sale weekends, like a weekend after today, on Monday, we'll refill the tank with extra salt water. Like we will have to, because we'll be pulling so many bags of stuff for all the orders that happened during the live sale this weekend. But outside of that, we're like a normal day. We're going to keep an eye on the salinity, but we're not too worried about that fluctuating it enough.
Okay, and Rama has another question for you.
So, we go to other stores. I go to other stores. I'm a hobbyist at heart. So I'm, of course, going to go to other stores, right? I love going into local fish stores, checking them out. Of course, I'm going to look at the prices. Of course, I'm going to compare them to where they're at for us. But for me, whenever I get to go into local fish stores, I kind of just geek out and look at all the cool stuff, because normally it's an opportunity for me to not be in a work environment. So it's like I'm enjoying the facility. I usually like that most local fish stores support your local fish store. We are a local fish store. In essence, we are a local fish store. We're a very large scale local fish store, but I want everyone at home to take the time to support your local fish store. This is a PSA to everyone. Support your LFS. That is how I got into the hobby. Larry, if he's still alive today, the guy that got me into the hobby was this old man that had a crazy hairy puffy chest with a Hawaiian shirt, and he brought me under his wing and taught me all about reefing. And that's just like what's cool about local fish stores, is that they're such cool people, and they provide like a really good access for people to get into the hobby without having to know a shit ton of stuff, right? Like you are able to get in there, see the stuff physically, and be able to, enjoy it. I don't know. Local fish stores are super important. Like people don't understand that enough. They're extremely essential for the saltwater hobby. Like outside of like other pet hobbies, like saltwater needs the local fish store.
I can't believe Tom is actually now chastising me and removing comments. I'm bringing them up, and Tom is removing them. So just to explain, I said one night after a few beers, don't get me wrong, on a Discord channel that we have a couple of local fish stores up here in Scotland that are so disgusting, badly managed, poor animal welfare. I called them moldy fuck bunkers. Okay,
moldy fuck bunkers.
And then I added
Can I put that in my repertoire? Can I add that to my belt?
I have
Can
I have stickers, okay, and I send them to people when I post them corals and things like that, and I call them the Michelin star of LFSs. So if you go to one of these moldy fuck bunkers, you slap it on the door on the way out, and they are marked. They're marked as a moldy fuck bunker.
That is savage. On your way out, on the door.
Yeah, just slap. Anyway, the problem is that most of the people in these stores can't even control their own salivary glands. Anyway, Tom removed that comment, so we'll move on.
Well, okay, so outside of Ron saying that, there is a good point inside of that statement for everyone to take home.
Yes,
is that your local fish store, you need to understand that the people you're talking to, can they actually keep a reef tank? Are they people willing to give you the proper information? Are they is it look at the tanks that they have in their store? Like you just said, look at the tanks in the store, look at the animals. If they're not doing well, question the information they're giving you for sure. So I think that's what Ron was trying to kind of hammer on.
We
in a roundabout moldy fuck bunker way.
He condensed it.
All joking aside, I am all about the animals in this hobby, and the moldy fuck bunker statement came from exactly that.
Totally.
It's a branding of somewhere that needs to pull their socks up for the sake of the animals the hobby in general. So,
and that is something, it's true. People tend to forget this. They're paying a lot of money for these corals that they forget that they're animals. They're not plants. They're not like rocks. They're all these things are animals. And it's same with the fish. It's not just something to just kind of that's why I think it's crazy when people are so willing to come in and buy a yellow tang, buy a tang when they're not really ready for the commitment. They are a long-term pet. They are a long-term pet if you can keep them. I know a good friend of mine who has had his 2 clowns for 46 years. So what are you supposed to do?
I've had a Royal Grammar in my tank for 8 years, and I got it off a customer who shut their tank down.
Exactly, and who knows how long it's been at that point, right?
This Royal Grammar is probably in the decade, it's probably over 10 by this point.
Yeah, my yellow tank's 11, so it's cool to know that these animals live a long time. You got to take good care of them.
Yeah,
moldy fuck bunker or not, take care of your animals.
100%. Yes.
We always say to judge a shop on its display tanks, right? If you walk into a shop and the display tanks are awful, then don't listen to what they say and don't buy their salt water.
Yes.
Oh, you mean their water in general for doing water changes and things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because that's the water they're using. Yes. So if their displays look horrific, don't buy their water. Yes. It's probably fish grade salt.
When was the last time they changed a membrane? Probably never. It's
Do they know what TDS is?
It's like you go into the pub and you ask the bartender, you say, "When was the last time you cleaned the lines?" And they go, "What are you talking about?" And you're like, "Oh no."
Goes, what's a line?
No, I'm not drinking beer from here. No way. No. Same concept. When was the last time you changed your membranes? So that's a great point. Great point.
Yeah.
It starts there, right? Your RODI is your starting point, right? If you don't get it right there, you're already behind the 8 ball, immediately. Yeah. You haven't even started the tank and you're behind. You're already losing. So.
Yeah. Ours has an alarm on it, so if the TDS goes above 0, it's just beep 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 beep. We're
Who gets to name all the corals, Blaine?
There's a group of us that get to name the corals. I'm in that group, which is pretty cool. I got to name a couple of my first corals ever. It was outside of this, being fun and games. It was the coolest thing that's ever happened for me in the hobby was being able to name a coral. It was genuinely really, really cool. Sure, it's a simple encrusting Monty, but it's cool that I got to name it.
What did you call it? Name it.
Yeah,
Applejack's Monty. It was my favorite cereal as a kid. It was the cinnamon stick guy. I don't know. It may not been over on that side of the pond, but they have it over here. It's an orange and green cereal, and that's what the Monty is. It's orange with bright green polyps. So.
Orange and green cereal.
Yeah.
That's where the tash came from. He's had it since he was 8.
Because nothing's illegal in America, is it? So
no, nothing.
You can put chemicals in the food.
Oh, you can do whatever.
Yeah, we're not allowed that.
Wow.
It's reef energy.
Bingo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you haven't slipped your name into any corals yet, like Blaine's Pain or something?
No, I haven't slipped anything like that. And if anything, I'd probably do my daughter or my mom or something like that. If I could slip a name in, I'd try to sneak in my kiddo's name or something like that.
Well, that's ruined my
boss
next comment.
My boss is called Duncan, right?
Duncan.
He's called Duncan, not Duncan, right? Just Duncan.
Like a name donut.
we grow all our frags in the shop. So whenever I put Duncans up for sale, I always write Duncans. I don't know.
That's
It just gives me like
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So he's got his name in a coral twice.
Nice.
Yeah, twice.
Okay, folks, we are at the halfway mark, which means it is time for Reefing News.
Reefing News! Reefing News! Motherfucking Reefing News! With Ronald McDonald! Reefing News with motherfucking Ronald McDonald!
I've not thought this through. I'm now Ronald McDonald, the porno clown.
I wonder who's going to keep the tash on.
Seriously, I've not... Fuck me. Okay, so welcome to Reefing News with Ronald McDonald, the porno clown.
I'm going to say, if you walk outside, that might actually happen.
God. I mean, obviously, you can see why Bernadette is with me. I am just...
She's your carer.
I'll be totally honest. I was struggling a wee bit for reefing news this week because there's actually not a lot happening within the industry of reefing. But I did find a couple of stories that you might find interesting. Go on, Sapphire. Do you want to interject?
Yeah, there's loads of cool stuff.
Go on.
It's all secret. Sorry.
I thought as much.
We announced. Well, we announced. Oh, right. Okay, I won't tell you the news then. Whatever.
You've had your time. Moving on. This is way more important. This is a huge 1,000-foot SS United States that has been bought and is being stripped at the price of $10 million US.
God, so
and they've
dumb.
brought it up from down the coast in America, and they are taking it off the coast of Florida to sink it and turn it into a reef, which I think is absolutely incredible. The scale of that.
What?
How will corals grow on something that is largely metal?
They are
exactly-
suggesting
that's
it's,
They're going to run polyfilters.
it's going to grow. Very good, Rob. It's going
They're
to
going to put
grow.
some Cuprasorb in there.
Cuprizorb!
It's the size of the reactor.
The
That's
ship,
those red bits on top, actually. They're the reactors sticking out.
the ship is going to grow encrusting mollusks, and the corals will then grow on top of that. So stick that up your fucking arse.
So what, they're going to grow some mollusks, kill the mollusks by, like, what, jamming a screwdriver in them? And then,
Oh, she said it. Behave.
Oh, is Sapphire getting put on the naughty step?
No, she's not. She's not.
Seriously? So did you just get a spank from Daddy? What just happened there?
Behave.
Okay, we're moving on. My next piece of news is
Oh,
that
this is a good one. I've seen this
yeah,
one,
it's-
Ron. This
it's
is a good one.
absolutely brilliant. So
Mhm.
there's a company harvesting thousands of tons of seaweed, kind of almost fermenting it in gigantic vats to then strip it down to its completely little proteins, carbohydrates, things like that. And they're going to be using it in the most incredible way. So obviously you can read there, it's mostly going to be used as emulsifiers in food, to be fair.
It
But
already
it's-
exists.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Hugely.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's a huge thing for me in horticulture. Seaweed is one
Yeah.
of the best forms of nutrition for plants
Mhm.
on the planet. So
Yeah.
they're going to start farming it and start using it in all sorts of actually weird and wonderful ways, which I thought was really interesting. I told you,
Yeah.
Reefing News was
Does that say they're going to make furniture out of it? Or are my eyes deceiving me?
Yeah, you ever
Wow.
watched SpongeBob?
and bioplastics. They're going to make
Mhm.
all sorts of stuff from it, which I thought
Wow.
Seaweed's cool.
Yeah. You can already
It's
buy
amazing.
plastic straws made out of seaweed, actually, that biodegrade. And you can
Yes.
also, what is it they make with it? Gelan or something. You can make food gels and
yes,
gloopy stuff,
emulsifiers and
basically.
gloopy stuff. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And then I stumbled across this little gem in the newspaper. So this man thinks that the ghost of Michael Jackson bummed his pet monkey.
Now we're talking. This is news.
This is better.
See, Blaine, you can come back anytime. You're on the same page as me.
I like this. I like this. This is
Yeah,
good.
it's good, isn't it, for a Friday night? It's just a bit of a
This is a good halftime show for sure. I could get behind this.
Yeah. So
I can't believe they didn't. They said he didn't go ape.
Chimpanzee that monkey news. Yeah.
Monkeying around.
Yeah. So anyway, the man was absolutely enraged that this ghost of Michael Jackson, Shimon, had bummed his pet monkey. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I've been Ron McDonald, the porno clown. This has been Reefing
There was
News.
another.
Reefing news. Reefing news. Motherfucking reefing news with Ronald McDonald. Reefing news with motherfucking Ronald McDonald.
There was a news you missed.
No,
The young
there was.
News
Bread.
you missed.
Sorry, go on.
De Jong bred a marble mouth frogfish.
Wait
Do you
for
want
a
to
punchline.
And you-
Okay.
I'm not putting the
Yeah.
wig back
And you
on.
missed
Put the
the-
fucking
I-
nose on.
Ron's like not.
I sent you a
phased at
picture,
all.
Ron,
When?
a minute ago.
Yeah.
I'm
When
not-
the news came on, I
minute
went and
ago.
found it.
I am not opening anything you send me on a live stream ever again. You fucking dick. No, that's not news.
That
Ron
bit
missed-
actually is news. The picture might not be entirely factual, but the story is.
The picture is definitely not factual. Anyway,
I
listen.
texted Ron some news and he ignored it and he didn't put it on.
Oh, whoa. Sapphire, stop right there. That's coming at the very end of the stream.
Okay, all right.
And I knew you wouldn't be able to fucking resist. I just knew it. I knew she was going to bite. I knew she was going to bite. No,
Yeah.
Well, we play it. I'm not back. Is she tired? No.
No, I'm not tired. I'm not tired.
there is
Ready.
actually another little bit of news before we move on to the game. And I just want to say a massive shout out to Drippy, who
Yep.
very, very soon is going to be 10 years sober. And tonight he can't be with us because he's away at a meeting and he's helping other people. So just a wee drink to
That's off.
Drippy. What an absolute legend
Cheers,
you are.
legend.
Unbelievable. I love that.
Yep.
Cruel.
It's
Also, the
amazing.
reefing news is our shop announced our birthday party this year.
That's not news.
It's not every year.
Every year, yeah. we announced it's going to happen again, and I've made a really nice plan for the day.
Is it like a round year then? 5 years, 10 years,
Nah, 3.
3 years? Right.
3. It's a biggie, you know. We've got David Saxby's coming up to come and do
nice.
some mingling with
That'd be
people. Do some chatting. I mean, I like him a lot, and I've been to see his tank a few times. And I asked him if he wanted to come, and he said yes. So that was great. He's coming up for the day. He's 82, Rob.
I mean, the Sitchin Saxo is a fucking legend. He really is. He does
He's
sound like the character,
hilarious. He's
but he
so
does sound like
funny.
the character from
Yeah.
a TV show.
Yeah, he's so funny. The funniest thing about David is asking him a question he disagrees with. If you say, David, have you ever considered doing this? He'd be like, no. Why would I ever do that? And you're like, whoa, all right. But yeah, Jose from Reef Elements is coming to do a talk. We've got like a massive barbecue. We're doing loads of fundraising for the Manta Trust. And we do this really entertaining thing called pull a random discount at the till.
Blaine, do you fancy sending us a signed
I will make
T-shirt
a cake.
over
Oh, for sure. Whatever you guys want.
for Sapphire's raffle?
Sure.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You want me to sign it?
Yeah.
Anyone. If you could-
yeah,
if you
you
could-
want.
Maybe to keep it safe, you could like wrap it
Like
around.
it's like I'm
kind
LeBron
of-
James. This is awesome. Yeah, I'll sign
Yeah,
it.
Put down a
maybe
grafted
do-
Tenius or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
would-
now we're talking.
Double,
Now
double wrap
Just
it
rub-
with some like
Just
I
rub
don't
your
know.
moustache on it. Just rub it just slightly, just gently. Yeah. There we
I'd
go.
rather have some of those special corals. They might fall in the pocket of the t-shirt or something. You have to sew a pocket on it first.
We have had people fly in, very well-off people fly in their own private planes that, you know, have been like, we're taking corals home, and we're like, that's not how that works. And they're like, shut up, that's how it works for us. And they just buy it and take them, and we're like, okay.
Yeah,
range
my
on
boss,
your helicopter, Rob.
my boss does
pretty
know
much.
somebody. My boss does know somebody who's been to prison for that. So
I mean, like literally, we're just like, okay.
Is that
on
you,
you.
Sapphire?
Yeah. I'm too young to have gone to prison.
I'm too pretty.
Sure, that's not how it works.
Talking to president. Anyway, it's time to play a game, Blaine. Are you
I don't know
ready?
whether this is gonna. I just don't know whether this is gonna work though.
Well, just so you know, I've got my bit done. If this is a fuck up, it's Tom's fault. Okay, so I have warned
Blaine's
you.
face.
That was pretty good.
If this is a fuck up, it's not my fault. Right.
Oh,
dear.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
Right.
In the hot
Wow.
seat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think we should arrange a tank tour for that tank behind you, just while we're at it.
Oh, this old
Yeah.
thing.
No, we do tank tours on the Discord channel. You need to get on there, Blaine. You'll love it.
Oh, I would love it. I love tank tours. It's my favorite videos to do.
Superb. Right, Tom,
Right.
take it away.
So the aim of the game is to answer as many correct answers, obviously, in 60 seconds.
Oh boy.
And your specialist subject, as I've already warned you, is going to be you're going to name corals off your website. So we're going to show you as many corals on your website.
Building
Now,
suspense.
The comments are gonna destroy me.
One thing I have done to help you is I have only chosen TSA corals.
Oh wow. That's funny because last night I sat up and I almost studied a little bit. But we have over 4,000 different corals. So I was
I know, and I didn't think that would be fair. So to be fair to you, I have only chosen TSA corals, a mixture for you. Okay. Now the score to beat is 8 because Mike from Finest, one of the other shops in the UK, he got a score of 8 last week with his Latin names of fish. So
wow, that's
if you want to knock him off the top spot, you need to beat 8 in 60 seconds. So you will hear a sound if you give a correct answer, which is
Can I pass?
There you go. If you give an incorrect answer, you will hear.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
No, yeah.
Ron, are you ready?
Yes, this could be painfully embarrassing for you, Blaine. Don't fuck it up.
It's going to be bad. I know it is.
Your 60 seconds starts now.
TSA Fruity Pebbles.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, it's so tiny.
That's what she said.
It's the same one.
Go on, sorry.
Oh, the Laffy Taffy, TSA Laffy Taffy. Oh no, it's Fantasia. Shit. It's. I mean, obviously, Cyphastria is. I mean, it's not meteor shower. Can I pass? I'm just gonna say pass. Can I pass? Pass. Okay, that's the Laffy Taffy.
Tom, I'm really sorry. The counter's gone, Tom. I don't have a clue.
Yeah, I'm timing it. Carry on. He got
Bollywood.
He got it right. Yes.
Ice Econata. I don't know. Get rid of it. Get it away from me. No, get it away. I don't want it. Get it away. Oh my gosh, it's a Yuma. We don't even name those. Damn it. It's a brand. Strawberry Dioceras plate. Okay, get rid of it. Colonel Mustard. Yeah, no. Oh fuck.
And that's it. That's your time.
Oh, it's the Red Robin.
That's your time.
It was absolutely
Was it Red
amazing.
Robin? Was it Red Robin?
Yes.
Fuck.
What was that, Cyphastria?
Yeah, what was it?
Ron's got the correct answers. So
Is it
hang on a minute.
the third one was South Beach.
Oh,
Yeah. And
Yeah,
South Beach.
my boss is gonna fucking kill me.
Yeah.
I just quite liked you shouting, "Get it away from me!"
Right, so to be totally fair to Blaine, right, this way of doing it, bringing up the photos, there was a delay, okay? So
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to be generous and I'm going to give you the Laffy Taffy and Fantasia, although you got them mixed up to begin with. So
Yes.
you, sir, have 5 in 60. Well done, Blaine. I think you did very well.
We'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'm just
good.
glad it didn't turn it. You know what's crazy is that I thought I was going to get all the SPS wrong because I'm not really a stick guy, and I knew the sticks more than I knew the rest of the corals, which is kind of funny.
So just we run through them all, Ron.
Yeah,
So-
let's do it.
So you got your fruity. Is that your?
Yeah,
Fruity
so that's the
Fruity
fruity
Pebbles.
pebbles, which is really cool. That is a really nice tabling acro that honestly, so the backstory to that. So we got that a long time ago. We ended up keeping in it in a couple different tanks, and then randomly one day Kevin saw a tiny little green pigment show up on one of the branches, and so he said, "I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that somewhere special." So we moved that. We continue to kind of work on it. What I think is really cool is bonsai. I think is a word that should be used more in the reefing world because we kind of bonsai'd the acro to initiate more of the green, right? And the more of that green pigment to come up. And so now the fruity splice is actually from the fruity pebbles originally. The fruity pebbles was the original coral. The green pigment took over, thus creating the fruity splice.
Okay. Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, so these next, the two Bernardiporas, right? I'll say Bernardipora because it's not a Goniopora, nor is it an Alveopora because it's a short tentacle Goni, basically. For everyone watching at home, these are Gonis that are really short, stubby Gonis, except for every once in a blue moon, they'll shoot off a shooter, a really long polyp that looks really cool. They can get crazy long. I love the Fantasia and the Laffy Taffy. They're extremely similar, but the Laffy Taffy has more of like a purplish lavender skin tone on the stalking, whereas the Fantasia is more of a pink tone, as you can kind of see there. And the Fantasia seems to grow a little bit tighter. It doesn't extend nearly as much as the Laffy Taffy does, but super nice Bernardipora. I love flower pot corals in general. I think in the past like 20 years, we've done a really good job at like actually learning how to grow them. So the South Beach, Cyphastria, I think Cyphastrias are a coral that everyone shits on for no apparent reason. They just like to do that because no one likes
to take a dump on them. Yep.
Yeah, no one really likes them. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, actually,
here's a great question I want to ask everyone in the chat: SPS or LPS?
Ah.
You
sat
could
and I
have a
looked.
poll.
I sat and I looked at my script when I was writing it for my Cyphastria video for like an hour and a half because I could not decide what to call it. So I would love to hear from you guys what you think it is. Interesting.
SPS.
I want to hear in the comments too. Yeah.
Yeah, I call it an LPS.
Interesting. So I personally have always called it an SPS. Personally, I have.
Same here.
I've seen it as labeled at. I like SLPS is good.
Yeah.
SLPS is a good one. It's hard, right? You can't really hammer in what exactly it is. But super cool corals. I think Cyphastrias are underrated. What I love about a lot of the Cyphastrias is near the rim, as you can see on the rim of this coral, the bleed out is sick. Like it's really cool. The bleed out is epic. LP. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely saw some
Maxine.
to enjoy.
So sorry, Blaine. I called one of our sort of group of guys, misses the wrong name all weekend last week, and I wasn't
that
corrected.
is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Anyway,
Did she
evening,
go-
Maxine.
Did she go with it?
Well, clearly, because nobody told me otherwise.
She just rolled with it. She's like, I am Maxine.
I've had customers that I've known for, I would say, coming up almost a decade that have called me the wrong name throughout, and I haven't corrected them.
Just roll with it. Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, it's too long.
What happens though if that customer's next to another customer and they're like, all right, hey Sapphire, have a good day.
That does happen occasionally. Yeah. I'd say
it's not Stephen by any chance, is it?
That's my dad's name. So that'd be weird. No, I'd say it's probably 20 to 30% of our customers call me the wrong name.
Wow, what do they call you?
Like Stephanie, Steph, Saffron. I get quite a lot.
That's Saffron.
That sounds way nicer than any of the words I've been called around here. Do you from Colson, Jed, Paul Cafera as it comes across on the screen in their channels? So end of it, here we go. Let's go into the wormwood. I think YouTube is a very interesting space, right? I think YouTube is very interesting, especially with some people that really have garnered a lot of attention, especially in the pet world, right? We'll kind of keep it in the pet world. I have, now that I've gotten to meet Paul Cafaro, be in his facility, I think he has actually created quite a good facility for his animals. I think I kind of had the wrong perception initially. They are young and they're crazy kids and they're YouTubers. So what do you do?
Yeah.
But they're cool. That's the Laffy Taffy. So that one's really nice. I like how on the polyps too, when they're kind of tight to each other, they show like kind of a green tone. It's kind of that orange to green into the center. And then, like I said before, as they shoot out the little extensions of some of the polyps, it's really cool. But another Bernardipora that's really nice in the farm. We've got quite a few Bernards that are really, really impressive, but definitely those two you guys picked are easily the top picks for a lot of people. Oh my goodness, it just goes on and on. So this is where I think it gets really fun. Out of the list was just like the sheer amount of sticks.
You've got a lot of sticks.
We've got so many sticks. It's crazy. It's kind of to the point too now where we're constantly, which I think is cool too, we're constantly trying to pick up new pieces to add to our collection. Like and grow out. Like that's the other thing that is cool too, I think, in the coral industry that a lot of industries don't do, is that they I'm not going to answer that one.
Oh, Brian, you let us down.
But I think it's cool, right? Because we at TSA, right, we carry WWC pieces, but regardless of the relationship, no matter what, we still call them WWC whatever on our website. I think that's really cool in the reefing hobby that we maintain the lineage of where these corals come from. Does everyone do that? Fuck no. No, not everyone. I would say probably 90% of people don't stay true to the name. We recently saw another local fish store selling one of our TSA Bill Murrays renamed as something else at about 4 times the actual price of a Bill Murray. So it's like you see these things.
Who would rename a Bill Murray?
I don't know. That's what we said too. It's like that's like a super iconic piece that's going to be kind of hard to like not be like that's a Bill Murray.
Do you have any issues with Bill Murray when people buy it?
No, not too much.
Must just be an English thing, Ron.
Oh well, fuck you then, Blaine.
We don't. Why did you have an issue with it? I'm curious.
I have renamed it Bill's Bollocks because he will not go in a bag and go anywhere other than 5 feet before it dies.
Wow, that's crazy. Because here, like, it's our most successful piece probably. Like easy, like
remove him, Ron. Remove him.
It's Ron. I don't mean to be this guy, but I made a beginner SPS video, and that was one of the #1 sticks.
No, listen, I am totally aware of how easy it is for most people, but I will say it is clearly down to where I sourced it. So
interesting.
I think
what you probably sourced
that could be it too. And also, is it the true lineage, right? Like,
yeah, exactly right. A lot of people in the UK
could be the guy. It could be the guy. Bill Murray.
A lot of people in the UK sell stuff like, I don't know, Walt Disney's. They're not the true lineage. They're just things that look a bit like that are a wild piece, which they've, maricultured. It's probably not the same genetics. Like most actual USA corals that are here, like WWC and like Blaine stuff, is like it got here illegally, right?
Yeah, had to.
So there are select people that have that, and it doesn't go very far.
Blaine, do you
not
have
walking into their local fish shop being like, "Yo, do you want some of these?"
Yeah.
Blaine, do you have things that call tank? Do you call them tank
Your
breakdowns?
got cancer,
When
I
somebody's
reckon, Ron. I think that's the trouble with
like getting out the hobby and shutting the tank down, do you buy all the corals? Do you give them credit? Or
yeah, so it'll be we'll give them either or option. We give them the option of either selling out their. Of course, it needs to be things that are like worth something. We're not just gonna like take stuff. The other issue too with just bringing stuff in is that now. This is where it gets really tricky, right? This is where it gets really finicky, is that for our quarantine setups, right? Specifically as they are going in section by section by section, if we bring in new coral that goes into that quarantine, we reset the timer. And that's the last thing we want to do when we're trying to shift these corals and get them into, into the farm. So for a lot of those, it'll be like store trade in. We'll keep it in the store and we'll do credit, or, I mean, most of the time it's people getting out of the hobby. So we'll pay them. But normally it's not like a super high, price that we're going to give them back. Right.
Just to explain. Just to explain. We did a tank tour.
I don't. Nothing. You can explain nothing from this live. Nothing.
You know what? Fuck it. Moving on.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice
so that's one of the dragons. We have a slew of dragons that are. I think my favorite's the honeycomb. Is the golden one. But I think people sleep on dragons just because it's an opportunity to get sticks into an all SPS dominated tank in darker areas. You could fill in space with lower light sticks like these in areas that you're like kind of overshadowed, or you have a overhang. You're trying to find some more corals to add in. That's a perfect example. We say that to a lot of people that they could utilize them in some more kind of lower light areas. They're good for that exact reason. And the way they kind of grow out off of like an arch is very similar to like a hoaxamai. Have you seen like a hoaxamai, how it kind of grows out? It kind of grows all crazy and spindly.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. They'll kind of do the similar kind of out and then just getting all crazy. What is that one? Can you please tell me what that is?
Ron?
Well, it says here it's a dragon scale lobophilia.
Oh, it's a dragon soul? Is that?
No, dragon scale.
Dragon
lobophilia.
scale. Okay. I thought it was a lobo, but I was like, I don't know the name of it.
I'm sure the audience are going to come up with a few alternative names.
The bleeding anus is a good one. I like that one. That one's on the top of the list. All of you guys in the chat have a job of naming corals, just not really good names. Just you got a job naming them. Lobos are cool. Large polyps, any LPS corals I think are cool. People need to remind themselves that it's a commitment to feed them sometimes. You need to remind yourself to get into the tank and actively feed them. Sometimes these corals don't do well just grabbing shit out of the water column like some other corals. Sometimes they need that little help like a little baby, giving them food. So I think that's something people tend to forget when they invest into these, I want an acantho. Oh, I want this and that. And you're like, well, are you prepared to go into your tank and feed it actively and give it the, nutrition it actually needs?
Do you feed this Sudocrem?
Just fingers it in.
I don't think they have Sudocrem in the US.
That's a cream you put on for nappy rash and itchy bum holes.
No, we have another one. It's like called some butt cream is what it's called, I think.
Butt cream, yeah. I would feed that butt cream.
Anyway, sorry. Moving on.
Fuck's sake, I can hear Bernadette laughing, by the way. So
give me a name. I don't know the name of it, but
this one is
it probably was recently named.
Calypso.
I thought you said Wet Soul. I was like, who's naming these?
Let's go with Wet Soul.
I like
soles.
I like wet sole better. Mushrooms are cool. I think mushrooms need to be people need to know that when you add a mushroom into your coral, especially like I recently added in some cool jawbreakers into my reef, but I forget that when they drop babies, the babies will just go wherever they want. And so now I have jawbreakers in random places all over the system. People tend to forget that. Mushrooms can be really irritating to other corals. It's important to run carbon in your system if you're going to have a bunch of soft corals in your tank, especially mushrooms. Mushrooms can be super irritating to a lot of corals. People
mushrooms
don't really know that, but
aren't corals, right? Mushrooms are more related to jellyfish.
Well,
than
yeah, I
corals.
mean,
That's a
yeah, I
fact.
guess if we want to really get down to the nitty gritty, I know people hammer me that on YouTube. I made a mushroom video and everybody in the comments was like, "They're not corals," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I know.
They're like
they're not."
jellyfish. They're cool though.
Wait,
They are, they're cool.
have you ever heard of the purple helmet?
Thomas.
No? No. Ron, would you like to care to explain?
There is an urchin called a purple helmet urchin. There was actually one in the store at the Reef Experience 2 weekends ago. And was that last weekend? Holy shit. That was just last
Are you
weekend.
going to show everyone your purple helmet urchin, Ron?
I don't have it at home, Steve. It's at work. Anyway, there's an urchin called a purple helmet urchin, and it's absolutely amazing. Saw my first one down at the Reef Experience. But unfortunately, when I asked the guy in the shop, what does he eat? It eats other urchins.
Cannibal.
So I wanted to take it home, but
What's it called?
Purple helmet urchin.
What am I Googling right now? Am I Googling something that's
Just Google purple helmet.
yeah, exactly.
You'll be fine.
Straight to Pornhub.
It's just a purple urchin, isn't it?
Oh wow, that thing is weird.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It looks really cool. You know what it kind of looks like? Have you seen those starfish? God, I'm blanking on the name, but they look like penises. They literally do. They look like penises. Yeah.
Well, these live
star.
on cliffs in surge zones, and they apparently a friend of mine who owns a coral shop in Michigan, Great Lakes Corals, Zach Budnick, amazing guy. He bought one.
Name drop.
And absolutely, the guy's an absolute fucking legend. And he couldn't get it off the side of any surface. Once it sucked on, that was it. Couldn't get it off.
Wow, interesting. Kind of like a
barnacle.
Abalone, kind of like an abalones are pretty good at doing that too. I can never get an abalone off a tank once they suction to the glass.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh,
that's
really
cool.
interesting.
I like how they're like shingled out too. They have like the weird like formation to them. It's like armor almost. It's really cool.
That's it. It's armor from the surges of the water against them in the cliffs.
I've never seen one. They're really cool.
You ever had them so far in the shop?
I've never seen one turn up in the shop.
Purple urchins.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I mean, I have seen a few cannibalistic urchins, like you know those little pink pin cushions you get. They'll eat other urchins, but also they'll eat algae. So just keep one, you know.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, that plate's sweet. We've made a big push recently to have more plate corals. A lot of the Diaceras plates do extremely well with cutting them, fragging them. They do extremely well. We've recently started cutting more plates in general to kind of try it. I think it's something that's not a ton of people are trying right now. They kind of get plates. They sell plates as whole plates. They don't really kind of frag plates up.
How long do you find it takes for them to go spherical again, though? Because I find if you cut a fungia up,
the way when we cut fungia, we cut them like pizzas, right? I mean, like totally pizza them out, and to get them circular again, I mean, it's going to be a long time. But I mean, we kind of just allow them to reheal over, and then once they kind of formed a little cupping over of themselves, we'll put them up for sale.
I definitely want to high five whoever named that coral Blanca off Street Fighter, because it's a really good shout out.
Isn't it brilliant?
It's brilliant. It's one of the best I've seen on your website.
Yeah,
when I saw it earlier, I just giggled. I thought, that's
when we decided. Yeah, it's like the group of us when Bubba decided that name, all of us kind of were just in unison. We're like, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
That looks very similar to the strawberry ice, though.
It's super similar. Like that's the one thing, you know, with some of these plates is like we're picking tiny details out, and that's what's changing what's what. The only way, I mean, that we know they're different is because they were all one plate before we cut them into a bunch. They were all one plate before we cut them into a bunch, and then now there's like the slew of the two different ones. But you're right, they are extremely close to one another. Colonel Mustard, that one's cool. I think yellow is kind of underrated color in like sticks. You don't see it like a ton, especially on like the main body of it, right? The main color aspect of it, right? You know, you see like yellow coral.
The shaft is what you were looking for, Blaine.
Yeah, the shaft of the coral. With a yellow tone to it. It's a cool, another cool one for sure. We've gotten in a lot of sticks recently that we've put out. We've been really kind of hammering the speciosas lately. Those have been really big for us, like the Forbidden Fruit, Easter Sunday. We have a couple other ones, but I would say the speciosas have been one of the bigger like releases that we've had recently for like SBS corals. But Colonel Mustard's definitely one of our like signature guys, no doubt.
Which one's this, Monty?
Starry Night? Nice.
Ooh.
I knew it. Okay.
You did know it. You got that wrong.
I did know it. See? Oh, it's so frustrating. The Starry Night is one of my favorite paintings ever, so I like this coral a lot only because of that. Outside of that, and it's pretty simple. I mean, a lot of Monties in general, outside of like, you know, some of your grafted Monties and some of your Paloenensis Monties, I'd say a lot of the encrusters are fairly simple. And I would say it's a coral that everyone should consider putting in almost last into your reef tank, especially if you're looking to do sticks fully dominant. The amount of times I've heard from reef keepers how frustrated they are with their Superman Monty killing all their nice sticks around the areas that they've want to be planting acros and other things like that. I think that's something people need to understand. And then getting the encrusting Monty off your rock is a nightmare. Like, good luck, because you always leave some, right? You never get it all. And so it's like kind of like Xenia, right? Like you never get rid of all of it. There's always a little bit.
You need to make like milliput sausages. I know Ron will laugh at that, right? But you like get a bit of milliput, you roll it up, and you stick it in a line across your rock where you want the Monty to end. And every time it gets to that, you just pop it off and put new bits there. That's
what Kevin said too. He was like, roll some epoxy out and leave it in an area where you want it to end, and then every time it gets to that point, you break it. So then it's like a barrier, basically. That's perfect, right? But then you need to make sure that you get in and break it before it gets over that barrier, because if you wait too long and then it gets past the epoxy, you're like, well, what was the point of that?
I use a laser to trim the edges.
Do you?
Yes.
What?
Yes, I use a laser.
Ron, I'm gonna be honest, I always think you're fucking with me.
Nope.
He probably is.
I use
like I always think you're fucking with me now. Like
no,
have you got one of those reef deletes? Is it that?
No, it's
like
rubbish.
Like a Mahano.
I was gonna say you have to stand there with for 4 hours with one of them.
Reef delete is a great idea. It's just nowhere near powerful enough, and they couldn't make it any more powerful for safety reasons. I know they upgraded it. Still, no. I'm sorry. No, this is an actual laser that cuts a hole in anything it touches. It kills Aptasia, and it also completely and utterly destroys the polyp structure of Montipora and stops it in its tracks.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you send me a link to this?
Yes.
Thank you.
I now know what you're talking about.
Can I just say, before we go any further, do not use them without goggles. You're shooting them through glass. You get reflection, refraction. You must be careful with fish. Please, it's not
blind
a toy.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not been you that's been causing aeroplanes to just randomly land in various areas.
Check it on.
Land is a loaded term too.
I did burn a hole in the office wall with it and my own jumper. So be careful, people.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yes, I did. But it works.
I quite like.
It really works.
I quite like I quite like the injuries you get working in a reef shop. I think they're really entertaining. Like, so many interesting injuries have happened to me just from being stupid at work.
You want to hear something crazy? The one confirmed case of palithoa death was a customer of Top Shelf Aquatics.
One of my customers,
Mm-hmm.
who had been keeping reef tanks for 20 years, knew what he was doing.
Are you gonna better
himself...
this? Are you gonna better
No.
this? He died.
What Yeah.
Come on.
He made himself blind with it. He's blind now.
What?
Yeah, I mean, that's what he
Yeah.
said.
I just tugged himself silly, but anyway, moving on. I know where Rob was going.
But he's
Wow.
like cutting
Double
off those
pink
all
eye.
day, rubbing his eyes, can't see.
Oh, just saw Rob sitting
Don't sue me about this if it happens to you, but I genuinely believe you can get a resilience to halitoxin poisoning. Like
That
the
is
amount of
not-
halitoxin I must have consumed in my life.
I think that's a bad theory.
I
to
don't think
test.
it's a good advert. It's not a good advert for the channel, Tom. Get rid of her.
Ooh. Talk to me about this, Coral.
Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa is crazy. In
Gorgeous.
person, it really does look like that. The polyps are just super, super lashy and long. But what's nice about them, as you can see, it's like a yellow base, but works to like an orange pinkish tip.
Looks like the polyps are flames.
Yeah. Well, if you the forbidden fruit is another one that the polyps literally look like they're on fire. Like, it's crazy. The Rocky Balboa is, I think, one of our top signature pieces, probably one of our nicest pieces that we have outside of like the Bubble Yum, Fruity Splice, a couple others. But Rocky Balboa is for sure up there as like easily one of the best sticks we have. That's a good example of like yellow being shown in a coral that's not like the shaft. But it's like in the coral lights, right? So you can like see a little bit of yellow in there, but not nearly as much as like Colonel Mustard, right? Where it kind of ordained that name Mustard.
Yeah, it's there for you. Look at it. $800.
Yeah, $800. So let me explain why, right? Again,
You fucking scumbag, Blaine. How dare you charge that?
I am. I'm
Let me
gonna
explain
jump.
why.
I'm gonna jump. I'm
Because I
gonna
want
jump.
loads of money.
I'm gonna jump.
No,
over
hang on. In Blaine's defense, they've got 11% off at the minute on it.
Yeah. But also, none of us can buy it
also,
anyway.
and then also the other thing too is, yes, most of the people that would actually want to buy that coral can afford that coral. Most of the people that are looking at that coral that are saying that the price is too high can't afford that coral. So that's another reason why that price is where it's at. We only have so much limitation of that stick. And a lot of the sticks that are going to be at that high dollar price, these are collector's items. These are high-end SPS collections. These are corals that don't grow like Xenia. They don't grow like Duncan's. This takes a long time to get these nice grown out colonies. So I 100% stand by every single price we have. I know most people are like, oh, you guys are reaming people. And I'll die on this hill. These prices are fair, and come by this weekend and see the live sale prices. You guys can take advantage of some crazy deals that you will see for sure all weekend.
All I can hear is
we
blah,
can't
blah,
take
blah,
advantage
blah,
of any
and then-
deals,
Yeah, all I can hear is blah 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 blah, and then the Cookie Monster just going nom 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 nom.
Gimme.
I think I knew this was going to happen. You guys were going to grill me about that,
I'm
and that's
only
fine.
I'm
No,
joking.
I know,
I'm
and it's
joking.
good though. It's good because people need to remember that we don't have one dude doing this. It's 50 plus people that's
Yes.
running this company. It's not just one guy. There's 50 plus of us making this happen. And these are corals that most stores can't keep alive longer than 32 seconds. And we have colonies of them, and we have a lot of them. So yes, it may be overpriced, but a lot of your local fish stores could not smell a Rocky Balboa within 100 feet. So it's funny.
Right. Wow. TSA Raspberry Splice, 1,300. Wow.
That's a
Okay.
colony, though. You'd get the whole.
That's a colony?
Yeah. Get it right, Tom.
That's a colony?
Hey,
Right, here's a question
I-
for you then. So, what is your opinion of a frag? What do you have a TSA measuring stick? What is classed as a frag? What is acceptable to sell to people?
we're not selling anything that's recently been cut and just recently glued. It needs to be healed, right?
What about size?
So, I mean, for our sticks, right? I mean, it's going to be about, you're going to get like an inch frag, right? I think all the cut to orders actually give you an actual size of what you're getting.
Oh, really?
And then your WYSIWYG will have a size of what it is too. And then if you have a specific size or frag or mini colony you're looking for, you can always email us and we can get it directly to you. But I mean, yeah, we're not sending out tiny little nubs, but there are tiny little nubs available that are WYSIWYG pieces, right? Like the forbidden fruit, we sell 2 polyp pieces. Yes, 2 polyp pieces. But if you are able to keep a stick alive and grow it, you're going to have a really nice, coral in the end. That's what most people don't understand, is that sure, you're paying a lot of money for these corals, but half the people that can't afford these corals can't keep them alive. So that's what's so funny in the end of all of this, is that a lot of this it's exotic animals, right? So of course it's going to be expensive.
My first ever reef tank that I had wasn't this one, but I used to tell people that I grew it from crumbs, and that was basically because I was young and I was really poor.
Right.
And Duncan would like knock little bits off corals by accident in his display tank, and he would give me, honestly, like things like this size and be like, "Go on, see what happens to it." He gave me a gonny that was a single polyp. But I've now got a colony of it. So I like grew every coral I have from like a millimeter piece.
Yeah.
It's fun. But it takes forever. It takes years.
It takes time for sure.
How many of your corals do you think people buy because of the value and they see it as an investment as opposed to the actual coloration?
We have a good amount of people that probably do buy for their own grow out facilities. We have people that have done that. We've made trades with people too. We recently made a trade with Pieces of the Ocean. We traded them some pieces of ours. They gave pieces of theirs. But yeah, it's quite the. It's pretty crazy though. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it for sure.
Cool.
You finished annihilating Blaine, Tom? Are you? That's so rude. He invites you on, Blaine, and then he does that to you.
I knew it was gonna happen. I knew. Hey, every day I have to read the YouTube comments, so trust me, I was not unprepared for any of the questions I was going to be asked about. And I know. Listen, I know we are not the cheapest people out there. I 100% get that. But if you go on our website,
business. If you can't afford a Lamborghini, you can still get something.
But also like a coral is worth whatever someone will pay for it. If somebody wants to pay 1,400 quid for a frag, then so be it. Go ahead.
Also, there's extremely fair price corals on that list. We literally I just posted 20 corals under $20 right now. Like they're literally live right now. There's 20 corals for $20 and under. And people say that we only have expensive corals. Like, no, that's not the case. But we do have a lot of high-end collector pieces that we carry for sure. And some of these aren't even in stock too, right? Like that's what makes it difficult, is that some of these aren't even in stock, right? So we can't even keep the cut to orders up quick enough for some of these high-end collector pieces because people want them so fast. That sunset stylosinellia, geez, that's a tough word. That is a really cool coral. The polyps, when it sticks out on it, are crazy. Really interesting coral. Most people don't even know what a stylosinellia even is. It's really cool though when it grows out.
Nice. Very good.
Right, so we've been talking to Blaine for quite a while, but I see down here we have a little video that Sapphire gave us. So Sapphire, if I
gave you a lot of videos, yeah.
Well, you didn't give them to me, Sapphire. You gave them to Tom. Therefore, he's decided you're getting one, and here it is.
What is it? Oh my god! It's a picture.
It's pictures. So what? What have we got here then?
Yeah, we had like an interesting surprise at the shop last Saturday. In the morning at 10:30 in the morning. So all the lights had been on for a good 2.5 hours. And one of our cabbage corals we've got like a really LPS and soft coral dominated display tank was spawning. We've not geared that tank up to spawn. The lights are set on the lunar schedule. You can see it going there. So it's a cabbage coral. So they tend to shoot off the eggs and the sperm at the same time, which kind of mix up. That's Duncan taking a picture. It's the whole tank. Those mushrooms on the right, actually, Blaine had some of them. They were in his slideshow. But yeah, it was really cool. So I had a look under the microscope. I could see the eggs. I could see the sperm. Oh my God, all this stuff is tied into one. You got to pause it.
That's a weird under the microscope.
I'm not controlling it. Tom's controlling it.
Yeah, I had a look under the microscope. I could see the unfertilized eggs and the sperm. I've listened to a few podcasts that Jamie Craggs has done about spawning in captivity, so I kind of half knew what to do for the first bit. Stop going to the pork pie.
Is that you looking at the pie longingly? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that
So
you thinking about the pie?
In these photos, can you pause it there?
There you go.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So right on the right there in that microscope slide, that big black bit is one of the eggs, and that kind of chain running up next to it, those little circles, that's coral sperm. So that's how it initially comes out like that. So what I did was I put it in a little like vessel, put a tiny heater in there, set it to 26, got a tiny air bubbler going, and I left that for 36 hours. That's how long it takes them to fertilize. And then the next day I had a look under the microscope and I could see that the eggs had fertilized and they become these kind of like clumps of cells. So now I've put I basically took one of our grow out plates. So yeah, if you look at those slides, all those kind of little blobby things under the black thing, they're fertilized, and those whole circular things are unfertilized eggs. They didn't get fertilized. So yeah, I took one of the plates out of our coral farm out the back, so it's covered in like a bacterial slime and coralline and all that stuff, and I threw it in there, and hopefully you can't see them at this point, they've disappeared. These will all settle and they will start growing into little baby cabbage corals, which is, I mean, like, it's fun, right? We run our coral farm obviously for business purposes, but also there's room to have like a bit of a experiment in there too.
Yeah.
You know, I have no idea why this coral spawned in the morning when the lights were on. I know that things have spawned before because you see evidence of it. So I will see tiny little torch corals growing in the Euphilia tray that have obviously grown from spawns. But obviously, all our tanks are in a shop. You know, 5:30, 6 o'clock. If we've had like a big delivery, maybe 7 or 8, me and Duncan are out of there. We're not witnessing any of this stuff.
Right.
So it was really, really cool to see. And I'll just see how it goes, really. It's interesting. So that happened to us this week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I wish an expensive coral had spawned.
Yeah, cool.
I wish all those scollies we just got in spawned, but you know.
So do those fertile eggs, do they change into like a planular larva? Or do they
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so they're in the larval stage now, so they're not visible to the human eye. Really so cool. When I got those next microscope shots where you can see the bundles, I couldn't see those in the water. The eggs had basically disappeared. They had dissolved. Coral eggs are really big, you can see them. The eggs had disappeared, so I just took a sample of the water, put that on a slide, put it under the microscope, and then I could see all these little fertilized bits hanging about. I do really need to take a scraping off the plate I've got in there to see if I have actually got larvae that have settled, but I'm scared.
Yeah. Did anything change in the tank recently that maybe caused this, or no?
No, I mean, we really don't do a lot to that tank. I mean, we test the water.
What initiated it?
Yeah, it's super stable. We had been feeding a little bit heavier than normal, but obviously for a coral to spawn, it takes months of it like in the lead up to that. So it's more kind of what's happened over the last few months. I mean, we did change the tank in about November. We had a Red Sea 250 and we swapped it out for a 300 just because the old one was the old model and we wanted the newer model in the shop. But we did like a straight swap in a day. So we took all the rockwork out, all the corals, put them all in a big tub, switched the tanks out, moved all the equipment over, filled it back up, got it running again. But yeah, it was just really nice to see. I mean, I've weirdly, like I've worked in aquatics for 8-9 years now, and I have never seen a coral spawn before.
I was about to say that's one thing I haven't gotten the opportunity to see. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've never seen it. And I think if I could really be bothered and if I had the time, I definitely have the means to spawn stuff. But ultimately, that's not what you're focusing on. I'm focusing on, when I'm looking in the coral farm, I'm focusing on growing stuff and keeping it healthy and keeping it alive and making it heal quick and like getting the mother colonies big. And I, don't have time to be faffing around with coral eggs.
ACI Aquaculture recently had an acanthophilia spawning event occur, and they've been able to rear a couple of the baby acanthos. It's really
so cool. It's so
and
cool.
they like have pictures of like the tiny little babies. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of eggs that I didn't take out the tank, and they just settled all over the rockwork. And so I'd be interested to see if I mean, it would be interesting to see if they do turn into baby cabbage corals in the tank, but also it will be annoying because the tank is genuinely quite nice, and I don't want cabbage corals everywhere.
For sure.
What was
I
with
just have
the
to get
Sheba
them with a
pie?
razor blade. That was also in my roundup of things that happened this week. I sent Tom some pictures of the gifts I've received from customers this week.
Yes. So
I love getting little gifts in the shop. Somebody gave me a hat, which is that one on the left, and somebody else brought me a really nice pork pie from a butcher.
That looks like dog food.
Oh, bit of pedigree chum in there.
Absolutely delicious. It was
okay.
It was still warm. I mean, do you live down in the south, Steve?
Yes.
Yeah. So your opinion is invalid on pork pies. Sorry.
Did you put any brown? Did you put any brown sauce on it?
Nah, I had a lot of salt water on my hands, so that was fueling
see it. And then
I'm so sorry,
Just a bit of pally.
Steve has got the opportunity to say 6 words tonight in 2 hours, and he's getting slammed.
No.
Fuck you! You know nothing about pies.
I'm sorry. If you live in the south, pies are not a subject you should be commenting on.
Pies are definitely not my specialist subject. I can guarantee you that.
Blaine, do you have any customers that bring anything in?
Not pies, not meat pie. No.
Anything else that they bring in? Anything customers donate or bring in for their appreciation? Nothing.
No.
Okay.
Maybe your customer service isn't very good.
Yeah, just dead corals.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Oh dear.
So
Cleaning my car. I do clean my car at work sometimes.
Bernadette has a question for you, Blaine. So Bernadette's my partner.
So that's a great question. So obviously being in Florida, we have a ton of hurricanes, and hurricane season has only grown. It's gotten bigger since I've moved to Florida, which is really fun. So we have 2 giant Generac cat generators. They're huge. They're gigantic. I mean, they run the entire facility. Everything's powered off of a generator. So the last Hurricane Milton. So Milton, I came down the day before the storm, helped board everything up. We did a walkthrough, made sure everything was good. We do 2 hard resets where we turn everything off in a concept that a power outage has occurred. And so we see to make sure everything's good. We had 2 clean runs. So we said it was good. Let's roll with it. Milton hit, we lost power for a couple hours. Power kicked right back on, had no issue. I think that's something that people don't talk about enough, but it's never an issue until it's an issue, right? Like power outages aren't a problem until you have a power outage. And then you're like, holy shit, what do I do? If you spend all this money, I'm going to go back to this again. If you spend all this money on this fish tank, buy a generator, buy a bubbler, buy something that's going to keep your tank running.
Buy a generator, but then also test that it works.
You don't even test it. No, run it every month. Run it every single month for a whole day. Put the gas in it and run it till the gas runs dry. Because don't leave that gas in there. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we had this exact thing happen to us in our shop when we had all these storms in the UK about a month ago. Mm-hmm. I had been to the wholesaler that morning. I had bought about £8,000 worth of fish. I had come back to the shop. I get the fish in the system. The power goes out. We have no idea how long it's out for. It's fine, we think. We've got 3 generators. we don't know how to use a generator.
Yep.
We're like faffing about with them. And then we're like, where's the petrol? And I'm saying to Duncan, like, I guess we could siphon some out of my car. Like, we got a tube. I was like, it is premium fuel. So, you know, it will annoy me, but
it definitely, it's
must.
being prepared. It's like, so my dad used to always say this. I kind of coin a lot of the terms he said. So my dad used to always say prior planning prevents poor performance, the 5 P's. And if you don't have the 5 P's, you're fucked, kid. And that's what he used to always say to me. So
in England,
prior planning prevents poor performance.
We say piss poor planning prevents.
Exactly. Basically same thing, right? So I think you need to be ready to go to take care of your tank in the time of need. I don't think you need a generator and all these things, right? Like you don't need it, but it's really good to have. If you don't have one, you're going to regret it. I know that's always the case, is that people don't have the issue. The power goes out, then all of a sudden they're all over the forums. What do I do? Yeah. So at that point, you're too late.
Just complete and utter silence.
Not very International Women's Day of you.
What else did you got other than the pot pie? Oh, you got some fish then.
Yeah. So this was my experience training Moorish idols up to eat really well. I have a lovely claim to fame in that every single Moorish idol I have ever sold is still alive. Apart from one that got murdered, so that wasn't really my fault. I think
you're training them to eat the food.
Yeah. So Moorish idols, right? They often will take things like frozen pretty well,
right?
If you start them on live brine shrimp and then you start mixing frozen into that, they'll start eating the frozen by accident. They get confused, then they're eating frozen, but they can't eat frozen forever. There's not enough fiber in that. And then you start mixing pellets in with the frozen, and then eventually you get them onto pellets. And if you can feed them a really algae-rich pellet, they will live for an absolute eternity, full lives, really easy to keep. So this is, I got a Moorish idol in for somebody as an order. They'd requested one, so I went and bought them a good one. And then over the course of a week, I got it eating pellets like an absolute pig. And then once it's doing that, I'm happy to let it go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and there's my little phytoplankton harvest for the week because I do all my own phyto.
Nice.
Which is very important.
Are you just growing Tetraselmis, or are you growing anything else?
I'm just growing Nanochloropsis.
Okay, Nanochloropsis, nice.
I should grow some more and start mixing them together.
You should grow Rhodomonas is what you should grow next.
Is it? The problem is, right, I sell this Nanochloropsis to people and then they're just like, great, I'll start my own culture.
That's our issue, right? So we have the Reef Genetics line, right? We have our phytoplankton. I'll be honest with you. Every person that starts a culture comes back for more. They never really maintain it. And cultures are so hard to keep long term. They're so hard to keep long term. To be able to maintain a phytoculture that's clean and sterile and really good to feed your system, you need a facility. You need like a setup, and most people don't have the space for that. So a lot of the time the cultures fail. So I wouldn't really. Most of the time we've had people. It doesn't work out for them. They, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't find it that much work actually. It probably takes me 20 minutes a week.
Yeah, we have a lot. We have so much that we're growing. So I guess probably the scale of it's a lot.
The main difference between us and you is that you are doing everything that we do on like an 100 times scale, right? We do all the same we do all the same services, but we have 1% of what you're doing.
It's like when I tell people like equipment, people ask like equipment, like what equipment do you guys use? And that's like the one thing that I'm openly, like, hey, like we use this and this, like you should use it too. Like other than the fact that we have 150 radions in the farm, you should have 2 of them, right? Like, I try to like tell people, what we use. That's our main reason why we started the Reef Genetics line. It's like the carbon, the GFO, all of the shit we use is now under a brand under our name. It's like, why don't we sell the same shit that we use every day kind of thing? It's, what works for us and it's going to work for them.
Is that what you've started using, Steve?
No.
What have you just started using? I thought it sounded like that. Reef Genetics.
It's,
Go on. Oh. You don't know. Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
check it now. Too similar.
Moving on. It sounded like that. Sorry.
It is very similar. That's why I'm
that-
checking it. Ocean Genesis.
Oh, Ocean
Oh,
Genesis.
okay.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Blaine. Wrong product. Saf, this toadstool then. It looks rather
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's massive, yeah. And it started hosting our little black perks that live in the tank. So this is the tank actually that the cabbage spawned in. It's fully Red Sea, that tank. But yeah, it's doing really well. That's when we swapped over in November. And when we did that, we put a load of single head torches in at the same time, and that's the growth on those torches in 4 months.
Damn, that toadstool is sick.
Yeah, it's massive.
I love
it's-
sarcophytons so much.
Yeah. I mean, they're beautiful, but they are so big, and I don't know what to do with them because I really don't want to cut it up, but it is pretty much touching the glass now. Nice top-down view of how it's looking at the moment. That's a nice holy grail at the back there that is like the ones you get in America, which is lovely. But yeah, this is our kind of, and then there's some
OGs?
OG bounces, down on the
Nice.
floor. We've just cut them.
Nice.
Where'd
you get them from?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'm curious.
I don't know.
I'm always curious now because I would say in the last 2 years I've seen way more wild OGs starting to show up. Comparative to the worldwide ones, which are nice.
Yeah, no, it is a worldwide corals OG.
Nice. Yeah, the best way to tell is the skirt. Is the best way to tell.
The problem with, and I don't know if this is true or not, but the WWC OGs, right? They don't really split because the only way they've been reproduced for years is cutting. So we've had that mushroom for 3 years now, and it's had one little pup, and it just would not split. So this week we just sliced it up.
Yep. I recently I just cut my OGs up again. I cut my OGs up like it's going out of style. I think those bounce back way better from cutting than natural splitting. I've seen them do worse from a natural split than a cut.
I mean, mushrooms.
And also, I
mushrooms
don't like.
care.
Yeah, I also don't like cutting them with a razor blade. I'd way rather use a saw on any of them, just because. Yeah, just so it goes straight through. I don't have to think about it at all. I can just saw it. If I blade it, sometimes I have to saw a little bit, and I just want to get through it.
On my mushrooms at home, I've done it with, believe it or not, like kitchen scissors because
did you cut it into 3?
Yeah, 3.
Nice. Do you like pizza?
Is that bad? Pizza,
no.
yeah.
No, not at all.
They're gonna be like, no, don't do that. Yeah, this is our SPS display at the moment. Coming up, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years old. 6-footer, loads of stuff going on. It took us a really long time to get a hold of this tank. Actually, like the first year, it was really, really up and down, and everything kind of started from little frags. So it's just kind of starting to blossom at the moment. And it's doing really well. We're getting loads and loads of growth. We changed what we were dosing on it. We changed where we run the alk. We run it quite low now, weirdly. We run it about 7.5. We were having loads of problems with calcium precipitation. But it seems to respond better with a lower KH.
Wow,
that's what it looks like overall.
That looks great.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, we've got some stuff I think that needs to come out now. I mean, we don't really want the stylo in there anymore or the Montes.
I think that's the beauty of it, though, right? Is once you start having things growing out, like you just hot swapping them in for better stuff.
Yeah. And what else have we been doing this week? Yeah, we're focusing really hard on like filling up the farm. Really. I think the video's already ended for them, but we've spent the last week just like relentlessly chopping stuff. Like I've spent so much time like in the back just
hacking away,
which is honestly one of my favorite bits of the job. I really like it. It's great.
Where were you seeing the calcium precipitation, Saf?
You can see it along the kind of water line at the top of the glass.
So you said you dropped your alk to reduce that? Because I dropped my calcium from 450 to just below 400, and it's completely eliminated.
The thing was, right, we always ran our calcium at about 420, right? And obviously it can fluctuate a tiny bit. Maybe like it would maybe go up to 430 or down to 410, you know, but it was always about there. But the problem is if your alk is higher and you're dosing calcium, you're going to be having to dose more calcium to keep that number at 420. So you might have been dosing the amount to keep it at 460, but it's precipitating out immediately. So you're dosing more and more of the stuff, and then it's precipitating. So if you drop your alk, you get less precipitation, and you can drop your calcium dosing with it. So we basically dropped them both, and we've had really good results since we've done that. I mean, I know ultimately you get slower growth with lower KHs, but you also get better color, and I think you get stronger skeleton.
Do you have issues with your yellowtail tamarin eating all of your inverts?
No, we don't really have a lot of inverts in that tank, actually, to be honest.
I can't stop my yellowtail tamarin from murdering everything.
We can't stop it from pecking the acros.
But I love them, so I won't get rid of them.
Yeah, no, he pecks at the acros occasionally, but it's hard to tell if he's
Ron Wood. It's Ron Wood. You took me out of the equation. I would have won, but you took me out of the equation.
Oh dear.
Listen, folks, we're already run over by
right.
10 minutes. Does anybody have anything else they want to say to Blaine? Because obviously Blaine's not going to be on. I mean, I'd love to see you be on regularly, but I doubt
Are you going to come on again, Blaine, or is this enough?
I would love to come back again. Absolutely.
Yes.
You're going to say that and then like block your number as soon as the ends.
No, this has been awesome. I like being able to be on a podcast where I can be a little bit more loose, talk a little bit more banter of the hobby. I think that's cool. You guys are doing something really cool here. I do really appreciate it. I mean, obviously my platform is a little tiny bit more professional, whether it be for the US military or for Top Shelf Aquatics. No, I love what you guys are doing here. I think it's really cool. This is a good space for people to come learn. Anytime you have guests hop on and stuff is really cool. You guys have a great group watching here too. The banter is good.
Huge part of this for us is actually the social element of it. Being up in Scotland, I'm incredibly isolated up here, and meeting these guys and chatting on a weekly basis, and then actually meeting in person last weekend. Just 10 out of 10. Absolutely amazing. So as much as there's a lot of fucking around and a lot of nonsense and a lot of giggling and all the rest of it, that's one of the most important parts of it for me is the social side of it. So I'm glad you appreciate it too.
It's who you meet, right? I mean, me and Tom had an awesome conversation the other day on the phone, and I think this hobby brings some really cool people into it, and I think the relationships you get to make out of it are really awesome. I'm definitely coining that. I think I'm going to use that at the end of one of my videos.
It's so funny. I really like that.
And everybody should
putting that on our Instagram.
For the channel here, be sure to like, subscribe, and if you don't, fuck off. I'm a huge fan of just saying exactly how you feel, and that is just me in a nutshell. What can I say? For sure.
Yeah. My other interesting news this week, actually, which if anyone's noticed in the background, is I got a stunning pair of Watanabe angels. Who are living in there at the moment. I don't know if you've seen them like flitting about in the background. You can see the female at the moment. There's the male. He's coming out.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. I love them so much. I love Genacanthus angels on the whole, but fascinating fish and reef safe.
I saw a guy with a gold flake in his reef tank that was like this big.
Whoa.
It was crazy. And it had like these crazy big bright blue lips.
Yeah.
Ron? Yeah. Sorry, I had to get one. He's
getting the hang of it.
You know him too well now, Blaine. That's it. It's the stage is set for you to come back on. Good man.
Listen, before we wrap it up, just thank you so much, Blaine, Steve, Rob, Tom, and Sapphire. It's been a really, really good giggle. But last thing I want to say is it is International Women's Day tomorrow. I certainly know we're making a big deal of it at the garden centre tomorrow. All of our staff are going to be wearing purple. They've all got ribbons, all the rest of it. So be nice to your lady friends tomorrow, everybody. Not the I'm not saying just tomorrow. Just do it in general.
Be nice to I would like to say like a personal, I've had 2 glasses of wine now, so it's going to come out. But like, be nice to women in fish shops. I get ignored so much at work, and I genuinely believe it's because I'm a woman. And people will come in the shop and they'll be milling about for ages, and I'll say, "Do you want a hand with anything? You all right?" And they say, "Oh no, I'm waiting for Duncan. I've got to ask him a really complicated question." And I think, all right, because he does know more than me. Maybe it is a really complicated question. Duncan's finally free, and they say to him, "What should I have my nitrates at?"
So
And
just
Duncan
let
says,
that.
"Well, Duncan says you can ask that to Sapphire. She knows that."
Who's Sapphire? The one with the moustache in the corner. Anybody?
The one making you a cup of tea.
Special cup of tea.
So thank you so much for everybody for joining, and we're going to wrap
Cheers,
up.
Blaine.
Thank you everybody in the comments as well. Tom, do you have a live stream on Sunday?
We certainly do. Yeah. Myself, Dripster, Josh, and Rodders are going to have a weekend catch up on Sunday of everything that's been happening in our own reef tanks. Plus, we'll obviously include the audience that are watching tonight. So yeah, please join us. We have Mr. Meckley back on next Friday.
Nice.
Meckers is confirmed.
Crazy Meckley.
Right, well, I'm out.
Can you ask him a question for me?
I'm out.
Blaine, you and I would be friends if you lived closer, definitely.
He said on the last stream he was on, I made it a few hours in and then I had to tap out. He said, "Oh, do you know where caterpillars all die from that disease? You don't have to stop that." And I was thinking, "Oh no, how do you stop that?" And then he never answered the question.
Okay. I will definitely get you. I will definitely, yeah.
Unless Blaine knows the answer.
Get him talking. Get him talking about the flat acro too. Did he talk about that last one? The pancake acro.
We were on for 6.5 hours.
Oh, he. So Meckley. That's so Meckley. It's so Meckley. If anyone listening, if you hadn't seen that podcast, I mean, if you talk to Chris Meckley from AC Aquaculture and you say anything about corals, you will not move for like 2 hours. You'll sit there and listen to him go. He's passionate. The guy's very passionate. I would too.
Oxalic acid. Is that the answer? Somebody's put that in the thing.
Yeah, it's Melinda. Yeah. So
Anyway,
this is turning into a fucking 6-hour stream. Steve, do you have anything going on next week?
I got a live stream with Lee, the one-armed reefer.
Hey!
Good. Oh my God, the risk involved.
You are so brave.
He promised me he would be on his best behaviour and he wouldn't use the trout word once.
Brilliant. Love it. He's not capable. He's not capable. So tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we have our first ever evening tank tour, which is going to be bizarre at 8 o'clock on Reefy AF Discord. So everybody join the Reefy AF Discord and you can just wander straight in and join the tank tour. It's recorded. It's not live because Lee says trout so much. I have to edit it all out. Anyway, thanks again to everybody, especially Blaine. Really nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.
We'll see you on the next one, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
See you later.
See you later.
It was
Bye-bye.
good. It was great. It's wonderful. Oh, bravo.
What was that, Tom? That says outro.
You're still live. It still says live.
And oh no, we're live because I'm going to embarrass Tom here and say, "Where's the outro?"
That's the outro. I've updated it.
Oh,
It was good. It was great. It's wonderful. Oh, bravo. More.
Well, we should be looking at the World Wide Web by now.
Well, does the World Wide Web look like two old coots with nose hair?
Well, I hope not.
Then all I'm seeing is our reflection in the monitor.
Did you try clicking on the mouse?
We have mice?
Oh, no, the computer mouse.
Well, no wonder this is such a cheesy computer.
Oh, would you please just try to pay attention?
Well, if you'd say something worth hearing...
What are you doing? What does it look like?
Yeah, we're surfing the World Wide Web.
Well, it might help if you turned the computer on.
Turn the computer on?
Well, that's what he said.
Well, anything's worth a try.
Yeah.
So, do you come here often?
Hey, sweetie, what's your sign?
Yeah, would you like to see my etchings?
You ever get a mustache kiss?